it is, unfortunately, under Joe Biden. He is tolerating madmen and crazy jakes wandering around the streets. These people blow their brains out after shooting about 15 people, and it's just swept under the rug by the fake news, or they say it's some drug craze. They test the people, they have no drugs in their system. What do you call that, folks? What do you call it? I call it demonism. But what do you call it? I call it bad business. It's bad business, folks. That's why in the year 2024, we will begin to open up some of the oldest and most unique. They're going to be unique. These insane asylums, they've been closed for some of them over 100 years. And but they're going to be unique, beautiful, restored in their full capacity. You're going to be able to go to work right away with these crazies. You're going to be able to go in there. You're going to have the electroshock theater. We're reopening electroshock theater because, I mean, it worked back in the day. If you look at the math, do the math, there was less crazy people wandering the streets of America when we could shock their brains back into order. We shock their brains. You first they take an ice cold bath. We'd put them down. I mean, ice cold, folks, ice cold bath. And while they're shivering and they're shaking, you put them in the electrode theater. You strap them down because they're going to flop. They strap them down in the electrode theater. They place the electrodes to their head. And then there'd be a gentleman to the side. You know, the doctor makes sure everything's okay and the patient is calm. They have to be calm for the proceeding. And then after they calm down, their heart stops beating from the cold shower. They shock the shit out of them. And then they ask them a series of questions. If they start answering those questions in a way that makes them look crazy, they get shocked again, folks. And that's how you beat this craziness that's going on. It's a virus. It's a disease. It's a virus that I don't believe that anybody wants to deal with. I don't want to deal with it during my presidency, and I'm not going to.
Donald Trump is always talking about things in which he does not know. Donald Trump doesn't know everything there is to know about what's taking place on Capitol Hill right now. He doesn't know anything about what's going on in the woods right now. He is a propagandist to the craziest order. He belongs to an order of Jesuit devil worshippers or something. There's something going on with them. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm gonna spitball everything possible that's bad until something sticks, because I can feel it in my bones. There's something going on with him. I don't trust him. I never have. And I remember this one time. It was the only time we're probably friends in life. Me and him, and Corn Pop came back into the equation somehow. And he had made friends with Kane from that show Kung Fu. And it was one of the worst fights I've ever been in my life. Trump was there. We were back to back. And before you know it, he turned to rend me, and then they jumped me. And they said I was no longer in their gang. And this was gang warfare back then. These kids these days don't know anything about gang warfare. We would get a straight razor and chip it and bend it and then leave it in a bucket of rainwater out in the sun so it'll rust faster, and let's let the shit out of somebody with it. I mean, we did look like Al Capone, scar right across the face. You can't do that these days anymore. People aren't as tough as they were back when I was. And even now, at 81 years old, I'm young and virile. If Corn Pop was here, I'd box his ears. Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and Mike Tyson, cloned by seven times over, couldn't handle me back in my heyday. I'd laugh at them. I'd pull up at one of those beach chairs at the swimming pool I worked at, and I'd sit back and I'd watch them try to fight me. I moved that fast. I could watch the fight and be participating at the same time. That's how fast I was. We made it different stuff back then. Different stuff completely. But you young punks here in the audience, and the ones that'll, the millions upon millions, probably billions, that will listen afterwards, y'all don't know anything about that because y'all didn't come from that world. You come from a world of privilege and video games and mobile apps and TikTok, and you really think you have something special doing, but a light breeze is going to put you in the hospital in traction. You'll be eaten from a tube if you step off the sidewalk the wrong way and trip and fall. Lord forbid if you miss the grass and hit concrete. You hit that concrete, you'll have 80 of your closest friends carrying you by the handles. You don't know tough like I know tough.
I guarantee you, 98% of the crazy people will be off the streets in the year 2024. And then there's, oh, well, Trump only promised 98% because the rest of them are on Capitol Hill. And they have enough political juice where somebody can say, oh, well, they're normal. They got doctors that'll vouch for them being normally, but they're not normally being. They know they're not normal. These people are sick. They're sick scumbags. The only way to beat these people is to reopen those facilities, folks. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, it has to be an alternative method. Why does it have to be? There is no alternative method. It's the only way. I wish to hell there was another way, but there's not.
I'm Joe Biden. Machine Gun Joe, they call me. So I suggest whatever I do, or whatever I'll tell you to do, you go ahead and get it done, and you do it quick, fast, and that's in a doggone hurry. Especially you blacks. Give me all you got! Listen, give me all you got!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your. How'd you like that? The new intro. It's a repurposed.
Awesome.
But, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Monkey Boy. What is it? It is the BDRP Late Show. I'm your host, D-Doss. Lost in the ether. All right, turn that off now. It's giving me motion sickness. Welcome back, the man, the myth, Mr. Merlin 187. Bro, I'm telling you, I'm my biggest fan. I think I was laughing harder than anybody at that.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. I was starting to wonder when old Biden was going to run out of the old octane and start mumbling and bumbling.
That was actually me mumbling and bumbling. I would like to say that was intentional, but it wasn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. That was the cleanest I ever heard him speak. What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, bro, like, if I could keep from laughing as hard as I did, I think I'd be all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to actually be talking to you about something that's very, very crazy and very real. I was sent today a video by a sheriff of a county in, where was it? Somewhere up in the Rocky Mountains. Now, this is a uniformed officer.
I think it's up in Kentucky, wasn't it?
Was it Kentucky? Well, we'll show you here in a minute. But this cat is making some bold claims in uniform. And there's significance to that. I mean, he's putting his whole sheriff's department, behind the 8 ball on some of this stuff. But it just goes to show you, folks, some of these towns, it's common knowledge. They're not telling NBC, CBS, and Fox because they've dealt with it, since their parents were children and their parents were children, all the way back to the founding fathers. And it's crazy to me there's still skeptics when you have hundreds upon hundreds of years going back to, I think, Leif Erikson and his reports coming over here, and I believe the first explorers to the United States, the first anglicized European explorers. Brother, Leif Erikson said that he was in a valley in the inland of I forget they had a name for it, but it wasn't America, of course. But he said that there was something called the Galones. There's a
Vinland.
Called the Vinland. What do you mean?
Yep. That was what the Vikings called it here, Vinland.
Vinland, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they did call it Vinland, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this Vinland, I believe that they came from the sea into whatever rivers running east and west up there in the up there by New York and all that. Came down the Old Man, Mississippi, and ended up on the Arkansas River down in Honobia. Because overlooking Honobia is a Heavener stone that says Galone, Gloan. And my old co-host Tater Plays and I, we spent literally an entire day and a night looking through every translation, every transliteration of that word, like, mixing the letters around. We couldn't find anything until I looked at Hebrew, the golem, the golem. And I found it coincidental that they call the giants down there the rock giants. They're called I forget the Indian word for them, Janasqua. The Janasqua, which literally means the rock giants. A golem is a man made by some rabbinical priest or some rabbi to protect the Jews, made of
made out of clay.
Made out of clay, but there's other stuff in it too. Made out of clay and human fluids, blood, and so on and so forth.
Filth.
So that's a little bit too close. You know what I mean? Too close of what's going on down there in Anovia for it to be coincidental.
Yeah.
Literally, go long.
Oh, Judicola.
Who?
Judicola. That was like the biggest, most famous one of them. They had a name for him.
They had
He's supposedly a real bad dude.
Is that the one that protected like some village or something?
He was the one that run around snatching up buffaloes and ripping off their legs and eating pieces of them while he's running and killing people left and right.
You
like
mean the Janasqua? I thought you were saying like it was the name of one of the golems.
Well, whether Gollum or Janasqua, who knows?
I mean,
if it's the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, could they be the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Where did they get the knowledge to build these golems? You know what I'm saying? Like them fallen angels. Some of them some of those rabbis may be talking directly to them. I believe it's possible. Allegedly. I don't want to, throw anybody under the bus. But Merle has looked at it, I know, and some of you folks as well. If you ever looked into the Kabbalistic texts, boy, I mean, and that's what they lean into. We get our Old Testament from them, but they chunk that out. They threw the baby out with the bathwater as far as our Bible is concerned. They recognize it in the prophets and the books of the prophets and whatnot, the Pentateuch. But the Kabbalah is, I don't even want to get into it.
Then after Jesus came and fulfilled it, they threw it out and decided they'd rather have the Talmud.
Yep. Because even they know that the Old Testament points to Christ in every book. Or they play pretend like they don't know, but that's neither here nor there. This old boy, is very fascinating to me, Merle. He really is. He just let it all hang out. And he's on TikTok. I'm gonna get this video for you, and I say I'm gonna check it out and support this guy because he ain't gonna be around long. He can't be.
Yeah. Well, that's like that old sheriff that was up there in Michigan that issued the silver bullets to the entire sheriff's department there, where old Linda Godfrey was from.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
I heard that and nothing else.
Yeah.
No
in fact, there was an episode of Unsolved Mysteries back in the late 80s where they talked about it, told some of the stories of what it had done, and that the sheriff had issued silver bullets to all of his deputies.
Wow. You see, and people don't string this stuff together because it's not really shown to them in a tangible way. You know what I mean? Like people are separating dogmen from werewolves and cynocephali, when honestly, the time I spent in the field and looking into this stuff on the back end of it, I think they're one and the same. I think we're dealing with the same thing. And it's funny that the German werewolf, were meaning man, man wolf, literally, this German werewolf, the legend of how it becomes a werewolf is basically what a skinwalker is. Takes the animal it wants to transform to, makes a vest or a belt or a belt of some kind, wears it, goes and sits in a cemetery, a place among the dead, and I forgot the most important part. He kills a neighbor or a friend before this.
Someone he actually loves. It has to be someone he actually loves.
That's the skinwalker, though. And that's, to me, that's what
6 of one.
Kill somebody, 6 and 1, half dozen the other. You're going to kill somebody you love to transform into something. And it's never going to be like what God made. It's always some sort of ghastly,
Yeah,
you know,
abomination.
monstrosity, abominable. Yeah, but that's worth killing someone you love. That's madness to me.
Yeah.
They need to be the first in those medicine men that do that stuff. They need to be the first in that big, beautiful, insane asylum. Turn into and William Snowden. He's the poster boy. That
Yeah,
guy
he
makes
just
me
straight
nervous.
outed them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does me too.
I mean he's straight
You
out of
got
them
a
and he's
choice,
still
he
alive.
says. You're going to be one or the other. You choose to be either a vampire or a
Yep.
werewolf.
Yeah, and people took the werewolf because it was more of a boon in their little order or whatever. It was more prestigious, I guess. But
Yeah.
he took the vampire because he said the transformation into a werewolf is something it's something crazy. Yeah, I absolutely will. Send me your information, bud, and we'll pray for you as well.
Yeah.
God bless that young man. But yeah, William Snowden was a high-ranking, according to him, a high-ranking Illuminati priest who became so much of an adept at their satanic order that they were presented him with a choice. He got his graduate certificate of turning into a werewolf or a vampire.
Yeah. It's
I think
crazy.
he's a little lost in the sauce, bro.
I think he looked like one of them dudes at the Narcotics Anonymous meeting, thinking back to the good old days.
Yeah, telling
Just a
them
little
old
too
war stories.
much. Yeah.
Yep. And I think because I mean, he was giggling and
I could be wrong,
laughing.
and I hope and pray to God I am.
I hope I am, and if he's watching or one of his associates, I do apologize if I am. But Mr. Snowden, you were talking about a young man. You were told a story about a young man who lost his life during one of these rituals, and you were giggling like you were telling some story about like a Halloween that you remembered fondly. I mean, that kind of made me nervous, Mr. Snowden. That's all. And maybe it was
Yeah.
nervous laughter, but it went on for far too long. And then the boys that happened upon one of these witchcraft ceremonies, because the werewolf is supposed to be the protector of these ceremonies. They circle them and compass them about and make sure
Yep.
that nobody sneaks in and sees the nefarious shit that they got going. But these two kids just happened to take a shortcut through the woods and they seen it. And this werewolf, uh, one boy lived. He was he's torn asunder, scarred from his back all the way down to his legs. And the other kid didn't make it. And he just, I bet they won't do that again. It's like, what are you doing, guy? I mean, kid lost his life to a demonically charged human being that transformed into a werewolf. I don't. Maybe it's my Oklahoma sense of humor. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, we're packing in
Well, it
fast.
ain't funny in Alabama neither.
No, I think it's safe to say it's not funny in any southern state, and I'd say some Yankee states as well.
You would think.
But I'll tell you what, I want them to see this video because I just watched it in the subsequent time I was setting up the show. I didn't get to watch it earlier, and it was like, man, what is
Yeah, I
this
ain't
guy
seen
doing?
it yet.
Yeah, you're gonna trip. I think this dude's a little lost in the sauce. Bro. I'll be honest with you. Like, cause he just matter of factly talks about ghosts and werewolves that are out there and Bigfoot.
Well, maybe he just had enough of acting like it ain't real.
Exactly. Maybe he's a born again believer and he's standing on truth and he knows that Lord is his shield and buckler too. You never know.
Hope so.
Hopefully, that fire starts, getting wild and a lot of these law enforcement officers. Because let's be real, we'll come on and we'll talk about a great number of things. But these creatures are real, no matter what we debate them to be, or what our opinions are or aren't. There are people who are being harmed by these creatures. They're laying harm to people. And folks, both of us are eyewitnesses, like multiple times. I don't know what these creatures are. Even the ones that I can trust that have demonstrated they have some affinity for me. I don't trust them. They're not us. They're not human beings. They're human beings I don't trust.
Yeah.
These things, I mean,
Ain't
if
gonna
they
happen,
wanted to,
Cap.
they could tear you up like paper mache, bro.
Yeah.
From Squatch all the way to Mothman.
I mean, them things turn around and accidentally bust you up like kindling.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't want to happen upon one. But I'll tell you what, it's interesting these spiritual humans. This sheriff's talking about they're human beings that live underground, and they adapted. They never left the woods. They never left the caves, and they're taking people. And I guess the heavy-handed insinuation is cannibalizing. And the reason I give it merit is, you hear me talk about him a lot. Old Kirk Stokes. Kirk Stokes told me a story, and it wasn't a story. It was his experience. And I don't even know. Well, I already started saying it, so I might as well. Daniel Boone National Forest. I won't say where, but he said he happened upon a woman who was 7 feet tall, who had black hair that draped down in front of her, and it was thick black hair and it covered her whole back. And he said he saw her from like 100 yards away through the brush, and then like 60 yards away. And when she was 60 yards away from him, she started yelling. And I was like, "What do you mean a woman? Like female squaw?" He's like, "No, brother, a woman." And she was like 7 feet tall or something like that, he said. And I was like, "Well, was she good looking?" He's like, "No, she wasn't good looking. She was this big, monstrous woman. No hair on the face, no hair on her body, very, very pale with black hair. And she screamed like one of those Sasquatch," he said.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I'm from the Appalachian Mountain area. That's where I was born and raised till I was 15 years old. I hunted in those mountains. I grew up hunting in those mountains. Everybody up there knows that there's people off in them woods that they ain't like us. They got their own language.
But
And
they
that's
are
the
a type of
ones
people.
that's the ones that, I'm not saying it's the ones that like people talk about, the cavemen type people, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about just the people from, like the 17 and 1800s that built these villages up there in the mountains. And until 25 years ago, some of them villages hadn't been in by any outsiders in
Hundreds of years or
decades,
something like
if
that.
not a century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Daniel
And they've
Boone
got their
National Forest too. Like that's what's crazy. I mean, we're not talking about some faraway jungle. We're talking about smack dab in the middle of America. Merle,
yeah.
it's hard to wrap your mind around that sometimes. That most of the United States is unoccupied by us. Yet we know so much about what's going on in those unoccupied
Oh,
areas.
yeah.
You know what I
They,
mean?
they
That's
say
madness.
something like 50% of this country's never been walked on by human feet. It's never been surveyed by man.
53% is unoccupied out of that 53%. Out of the 53% that's unoccupied, 80% of that has not been surveyed by foot. So you have the lion's share of all that junk we've never tread through. Not in a real way. Not in anybody come back and report it. Or
Yeah.
come back at all, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
It's
got
out
that
there.
Tensile River Delta here that they say is millions of square acres. And
Yeah, millions.
nobody goes in there. Nobody. You can go up there and there's some cabins right on the Tensile River up at a little ways.
Yeah.
But once you get so far up in there, the cabins even stop. And there ain't nobody going no more than 100 yards out in them woods from them cabins. And they ain't staying out there but a couple of days and
No.
with a bunch of buddies and lots of liquor and
And light.
guns.
Yeah. Unless you're DDoS.
I don't
I'm
think
sitting up
you'd
here
like
saying all
that
that
place,
stuff.
Deep.
You don't think I'd like it?
No,
I
I'll
don't
tell
know,
you right
bro.
now, you could disappear into that place and you'd never be seen again. And they ain't
You
nobody
disappear
going to
down
go
there
in
on
there
the Red
looking
River
for you.
too. You remember and Mr. Biscardi gave me this report. I looked into it. Sure enough, it was this guy who was a hunter. He was down on the Red River, and he'd gone hog hunting with his son. I think his 13, 14-year-old son, and he disappeared. You know what I mean? The son came back, distraught. He said my dad just disappeared. He said I'll follow his footprints, and they just stopped. And when I looked into it, they said that he absconded the state because he had an outstanding warrant. You know what that outstanding warrant was for? Unpaid speeding ticket. So
Oh,
this
come on.
man's going to leave his young teenage son in the deep brush down on the Red River by himself for some dadgum speeding tickets. Are you kidding me?
That's
And of
crazy.
course, he's right down there. He's right down there in the jungle. You know what I'm saying? Where all them squatch are. Because they inundate the Red River.
Yeah.
Stupid TikTok. I'm trying to figure out a way to send myself to something I'll actually get. Well, I'll vamp for Tom
Yeah.
until I do.
I think there's a website you have to go through to do it.
I just got a son on the TikTok. There we go. I got it. So I'll tell you what, folks. When you see this, I want your opinion on it because it's kind of crazy. When you think of all those monsters and all the things that we've seen and all the things we've been told about that exist out there in the American wilderness, it's like, well, shit, fire. Now you got to worry about other human beings that are some sort of a carnivorous predator. We got those in the cities. We at least of all in a place where we go to for sanctuary. But if they're, and he says they're just men. Now what Kirk saw, I still believe was a Sasquatch. I believe it may have been maybe have that revitiligo or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But a 7-foot tall woman, and he said that she was yoked up, bro. Like he said that she wasn't like no bodybuilder, but she was a big.
I don't think that's no regular woman. I don't think
it's
no
a regular woman either.
Sasquatch.
Or my backup theory is there's places in this world where you can go and just wind up somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like the truck driver.
Yeah.
Now, this made national news. You remember he went skiing with his friends in upstate New York. They found him wandering the streets of Los Angeles the next morning. Not the streets of Los Angeles, like a highway outside of them.
Yeah, they was looking for that dude for a week.
Yeah, and he said he'd been wandering around that city, confused.
The one that gets me is there's an old tale from the OSIR about a dude walking out of his apartment in New York and walking into the hallway of an apartment building in Seattle. This was actually investigated. This was investigated by a government agency, supposedly.
Allegedly.
The man had to turn around, knock on the door, and get him to let him use the phone and place a collect call to his wife and tell her, look, I left my wallet at the house. You're going to have to send me some money to get home. And she was like, well, why don't you just come get your wallet? He said, no, you don't understand. I'm in Seattle.
That's crazy.
And only minutes had passed. Yes, she was home.
Could you imagine?
Yeah. The OSIR, Dan Aykroyd got a bunch of files out of him and made a TV show back in the 90s. And that was one of the cases that they released to him, that this supposedly really happened.
That's crazy. But
Could you imagine that?
I've heard that before. No, I'm sitting up here trying to like, bro, that probably melted part of his brain.
No
He
shit.
walks out in the hallway. He's like, just the confusion of walking out of your home that's where you're most comfortable. And then walking into someplace unfamiliar. That's a shock to the system.
Yeah, just open up the door, walk out into the hallway, boom, you're in the wrong hallway. Like,
I'd hope I was on the first floor is all I know, because I think I was dreaming.
No
I like to fly around in my dreams. You know, I didn't know I was asleep. Let me just go jump out of this window and go save a burning house or something. Because I'd be like, yeah, I can fly. And you know, when you can control your dreams, you just concentrate on something else and it kind of shifts it. When I did that and nothing changed, that's when I started panicking. I probably have an anxiety attack. Bro, I'll be honest.
Can you imagine the people he knocked on their door and said, hey, can I use your phone?
Yeah.
And ask
When
him,
he
where
turned
am
around
I?
To his own
Where am I?
apartment.
Yeah. Where am I? You'd be like, hey, dude, I'm not letting you in my house.
Yeah, I've been
I'm letting
like,
you in my house.
You're in the place where I point you to somebody else's door. Go mess with the guy down the hall. That's mad.
Yeah.
But that's what I think a lot of this is. And maybe some of this time slip stuff is that. I don't know. But suffice it to say, now here in the year of our Lord 2024, there's reports of dinosaurs over in the desert parts of America. The Mothman has been seen again. Like, it's all the Higgs boson particle. Mr. Higgs, who launched the theory that it was a possible existence of this particle, whatever. He died during the eclipse.
And the juice.
Bro, there's no doubt in my mind that every time they fire up that thing, they're opening the portal. I think it's like shaving an onion. You know, it's not just opening the portal there. It's like doing something to the electromagnetic field because look at around the world, there's giants in almost at the Orient, but that's not. And in Asia, these Asian countries, they're finding giants on the top of mountains and over in the Middle East. And I mean giants, bro. We're not talking Sasquatch giants. One was like 20 feet tall, it looked like.
I've heard stories of them feral people up in the Appalachians that's big like that, and they just apparently like to bust people up and eat them.
Yeah, that's the consensus view. But are those people though, or as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's them red-haired giants.
I think it is too. I think it is too, bro. And isn't it crazy that, and I'll pick on Irish people because I got some Irish in my family somewhere along the line. We're related to every race on planet Earth, so
Oh yeah.
get out of your feelings when I say this. But man, they say that green eyes and red hair are mutations. Those giants had green eyes and red hair. Mutations is something that's abnormal to what it should be or what it's supposed to be. It makes you think. Because I mean, they did mix with the seed of man.
Yeah.
So did the giants get their red hair from us, or did we get our red hair from them? Because they weren't all just giants. Remember, they were the men of renown.
That's a good question.
You know, the mighty men. A mighty man was Hercules. Hercules had human children.
Yeah, the actual word was in the Greek.
Gibberine.
Well, yeah, that's the one in Hebrew. In the Greek, it's gigas, and that literally means earthborn. It doesn't mean giant. Some of them were giants. It's where the word giants came from, but it didn't mean that. It means earthborn. And they say, that's what them little people are. And the big people. And people with long necks. There's, 12 tribes of them with different.
Yep. There was as many tribes as there were the tribes of Judah, or the tribes of Israel.
Yeah. And then you had the offshoot hybrid tribes and things of that nature that come from them intermixing that was even crazier than that.
And then you have 200 of every known species of that time being them miscegenating themselves with it. Now, whether they did it by some sort of
animal, plant,
whatever,
and even insect.
Yeah, even
DNA.
the grass of the field was corrupted. When you look at that word corrupted, that's taking it from the state in which it was normal, what it usually was, and taking it to
lasciviousness, the mixing of the blood and the mixing of the material.
DNA. Yep. And I don't know whether they did that through science or they have this ability
Just
apparently
they're
to
crazy.
shape-shift. They could. I think they could change to be whatever they wanted to be. Honestly, I think when it said they mixed with those 200 animals, look at the legend of the Acer god, or he wasn't an Acer god; he was a giant, really. But Loki could transform himself into whatever he wanted. It's not just the Marvel movies. Like he transformed into a horse and made I can't pronounce that word. It's Odin's horse with the 8 legs. Yeah. And the Yogermonder, I believe it's called, the world serpent. That was Loki's son that wrapped itself around the world 3 times. So, angels slash.
Well, it tells you plainly in the Bible that they can transform themselves, that the angels can transform themselves into anything they want to. Why wouldn't their offspring have some of that ability?
Absolutely. If they can do it at a whim, that's their progeny. That's the next in line. You know what I mean? I know they get mixed with the DNA of man, but how far did those powers go? I mean, Hercules is basically Superman. It's funny, too. Samson was a mighty man of God. And when you look at that term, mighty men, were there angels that left their first estate on assignment? You see what I'm saying? There was mighty men in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that it talks about. That
David had mighty men. David had mighty men for his captains.
Yep.
And for the most part, think that that's mean that the Spirit of the Lord has moved on and he gives them abilities. But then you got to look at them lion men of Moab. That ain't what they were.
And God is separate from his creation too. It's something special for God to put that. And I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he hasn't. But I often think about that, like, maybe,
Yes,
I
that
mean,
is
I don't
great.
know. What was it? The Gibberine.
Gibberine. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a couple different spellings that you can use that one, or Gib uh Orium as well, I think.
But those were the actual offspring of
Yeah, of the
the
Nephilim and
giants and
humans and
or no, I'm sorry, the angels.
everything else.
Humans coming together. Yeah. It just makes you think, man. And the little g gods were the angels. That's pointed out in Deuteronomy. It talks about how God punished them because he punished them to die like men because they did not judge righteously by the poor, the orphan, or the widow. And he says, because you have done these things, you're damned to die like men.
You
But
know
those
the
were ones
crazy
God put
thing,
over the nation.
and I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but in the gospel it tells us to preach the gospel to all
Unto
creatures.
all creation. Yep, unto all creation. Yes, that's what made me want to do Operation Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like that's gonna be the Pepsi challenge right there. Because I still believe they're beasts of the earth. I think there are beasts that the Lord, for whatever reason, tucked away
Well,
and
when the
keeps separate
Lord
from us.
says to preach the gospel to all creatures, uh, it kind of really don't matter what they are, does it?
But those Gibberine, they're not creatures. That's why they. That's why when they died, they stayed here because they weren't part of His creation. They were an
I know
abominable.
they weren't, but you can't say they're not a creature.
Yeah, they are creatures, but I got to look it up.
They've got
What
the
verse is that?
seed of man in them, some of them. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That is true,
And
and
God
that's a
is
rabbit hole. I mean,
merciful.
that's some theology 101 for your ass right
I
there,
mean,
bro.
it troubles me. I'll be honest
Uh,
with you.
you imagine being out there in the woods with them for
Uh,
5 years.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't, bro. I can tell you, there's not one time out of the hundreds that wasn't in the back of my mind, like what these things actually are. I
Well,
wanted to
imagine
believe they were the
where you
beasts
go
of the earth.
outside and your chickens have got their heads pulled off and you can see their footprints around your chicken coop right there in your yard.
Bro, when we went over there on the Arkansas River, I ain't gonna say the name of the town, but in Texas, I've told you about it, in that pine forest, beautiful cabin in this pine forest. This man had some nasty old peacocks, loud, nasty peacocks, and you can see where this thing stuck its hand through the fence and like, pushed it open. You could see the finger and the knuckle parts of it, and he just snatched one of them and drug it through there, feathers and gore.
Yeah. Can you get a little bit closer to the microphone or turn it up a little bit?
Am I low? I don't
Yeah,
want
and
to be
kind of
like sitting
muffled.
up all the way. Is this better?
I don't know. You'll have to talk with it
I'll turn
there.
it up a little bit. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, it sounds a little better.
I'll turn it up a bit, but that property was interesting as well, man. I went outside. So I'm not inherently afraid of these things. I'm cautious around them. I'm not stupid. But I'm an old country
Yeah.
boy, so somebody was in the bathroom, so I went on, inside the barn because the gentleman who invited us out to investigate, his girlfriend was there. I wasn't trying to be rude or anything. But 30, 35 yards away, I went on the side of the barn, and that's where we parked anyways. And, relieving myself, and all of a sudden, and it's this big metal barn, big pole barn, if you know what
Yeah.
that is. All of a sudden, bam! At the back of that barn, you hear like feet running
Yeah, it
off. I
makes
was
your
like,
heart stop.
oh, yeah, it made my heart stop. All right, it made a lot of stuff stop because I did my impression of Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
Like that's a big cup of note for old Leon.
Well, I told you there's a board on the back of my chicken coop broke. I got to fix it tomorrow, in fact. And there's also a place where I've got that thick metal roofing from, actually, believe it or not, a Dollar General store. When Hurricane Ivan came, it blew the roof slap off that place, and I went and salvaged a bunch of that metal. And I used that to roof my chicken coop with. It come out there, and you can see where it grabbed it and took its thumbs and just rolled that metal. And man, I couldn't do that with put a couple pair of vice grips on it. You know what I'm saying? Just took his thumb and just rolled that metal up and pulled the screw up out of the wood. I was like, mm-mm, mm. You know what's doing that. Can't hear you at all now, brother. Nothing. No sound. Nothing.
Guess it would help if I was unmuted. Is that better?
Yes, it would. That is
All right,
better.
there we go. Awesome. I still think I'm on the wrong mic. Sorry, folks. This is my first day on the job. I appreciate you being understanding.
All right, what about now? Is that better?
That's much better. Wow.
All right, awesome. I'm on the microphone I'm supposed to be on. Awesome.
Good deal.
Awesome.
Yes.
Sorry again about that,
difference.
chat. Yeah. So let me quit hawing yawking and get at this video for these nice folks. We got up to 70 people in the chat. If you haven't already, folks, and you like the things we talk about and watching cool videos about subjects you enjoy, like the Book of Enoch and CERN and the CERN special I'm putting uploading tonight is hands down my favorite work that I've ever done. Because I get to incorporate some real-time stuff. So, Robert Fahey. Yeah, can I guess your gender? I probably don't want to because it's you know, that's controversial these days. I can guess your gender. It's called a band. Get out of here with that stuff. Guess my gender. What are you talking about? That jabroni made me lose my train of thought. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, there we go. Boy, that was a trap if I ever seen one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you see that one?
Uh-uh.
E-Man123 says, my guy, you look like a Denzel Washington from Temu.
From Temu. A Temu version of Denzel Washington. I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would too. All day long and twice on Sunday.
I'm telling you. I appreciate that. Be better if it was coming from a gal, but whatever's clever. Come on. Yeah, DDoS, why don't you have stuff browned up like a real profession? That'd be too easy.
Well, when you get a raise,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
can talk about a, you know,
Yeah,
a
when
bump
I get
in
a raise
performance.
from that a-hole owner of this channel.
Yeah, it's like my daddy used to tell me, you don't give them not a bit more than they pay for, son.
Exactly. And I heard old Baron Doss is a cheap bum. He ain't paying you nothing. All right. Sweet. Here we go. Cause they got to see this, bro. I mean, this tells the story. We're all over the place and setting it up for them, but what would you do if you ran into one of these feral people? I'd beat the shit out of them. Because, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
They're naked. They're going to have? They're naked. They got sticks and stuff. Unless they move around like those Squatch, where they're like moving when raindrops hit the ground, falling off leaves and stuff like that. Man, I'd piece them up.
Yeah.
Right on top of their head. Just like Joe Biden said at the beginning of this show. Scar right across their face. That's what I'd like to think I would do.
Yeah.
They're probably out there with 0% body fat too.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about it.
I mean, hopefully they know enough English to understand I don't want any smoke. I no want smoke, wild man. Me bring good whiskey and beef jerky. But they say, in all seriousness, this dude's saying that they're taking people out there, bro. I kind of, make a joke, but it's if he's serious, which he seems to be, that's ooky spooky.
Ain't it?
Shit, shoot, yeah.
I wouldn't want to run up on a clan of them things.
Bro, I don't want to run up. Here in Oklahoma, I don't know how it is in the woods of Alabama, but here in Oklahoma, there are people in the woods that are just human beings like me and you, and they don't want you kind of wandering up on what they're doing out there. Sometimes it could be a full-blown operation with more than 6 people. Sometimes it's some old dude and his son, or maybe it's an individual. But the consensus view with all of them is they're going to be a little ticked off that you weren't watching where you were going and didn't give them a wide berth. There's so many people that go missing here in Oklahoma, it's unreal. For a state that only has a little more than 2 million people. There's 2 million people, I think, in the city of Philadelphia. I may be wrong on that. And Oklahoma's not a small state. I guess this thing ain't cooperating with me. Try it a different way.
Because that would be too much like easy.
Yeah, that'd be too easy. All right. Now let's see. Boom. Send me that stupid code. I lock myself out of my own. Oh, yeah. One thing when I get in here, folks, if you would like to join the BDRP Facebook group, I'll drop the link for that. And you'll have a time and a half. We're looking for moderators and all that kind of good stuff. And we're going to need some people that are on Facebook a lot because I'm not going to be. And y'all can have a time and a half in there. Within good taste, of course. You know what? Backup plan. We're on YouTube. It has to be on YouTube as well. Feral people of the Rocky Mountains. Still with me, Merle?
Oh, yeah, I'm still with you. I was just trying to take care of something in the chat.
I got you. Will we get some more rascals in there or what?
A couple of them. Somebody beat me to it. I was that close.
Good job. It's probably Mainline Mitch. Mainline Mitch is a savage.
Well, Mainline Mitch and Brother Heck.
They jumped his ass, didn't they? And when, folks, anybody and everybody's welcome. From any political party, of any race or spiritual understanding and belief. We welcome everybody. Just know that
just be decent.
I have my own. Yeah, be decent and be respectful and know that I have my own beliefs and I'm going to vocalize them. And I'm the one with the mic. Like, it's not because I'm trying to be mean to you.
This was just trolls. I mean, it wasn't like somebody that was up to anything particular. They just, you know how they are.
Yeah, being rascals.
Yep.
It's nice to have one every now and again, you know.
Oh yeah, they shake things up, make you laugh.
Yeah, make you laugh and let you know who makes you know who's paying attention, who's got one of them wrenches. Nah, bro, it's only on TikTok. Are you kidding me? Stupid social media. This is a perfect opportunity to talk to you folks about smoking. Now, everybody, there's a lot of people that smoke cigarettes, smoke tobacco products that are in this chat right now. I, for one, endorse all tobacco products. Contrary to popular belief, I think they're good for you. They air out the lungs. They calm you down. They can be a stimulant or a depressant. But I'll tell you what, I can tell you could tell you better than I could. And that's Vice Presidential candidate Fred Flintstone.
Well, I sure would like a cigarette.
Well, why don't you bust out a Dawson?
A Dawson, that's right. Your favorite.
Dawson cigarettes. That's right, Dawson cigarettes. Nothing beats a Dawson except a possum.
I wish you would stop smoking the damn cigarettes.
Hey, your wife said stop smoking. Didn't you know these are health aware? The doctor prescribed me these. See, this is what happens when you let women poke and go to work and wear pants. They start going cuckoo-cuckoo.
That's right, Bon. You tell her. That's right, honey, you heard him. Hey, what's this?
All right, folks, I think we got it. This is a nice word from our sponsor. So if you're going to smoke cigarettes, we're not endorsing tobacco products here. I smoke tobacco, but if you're going to smoke tobacco products, I suggest a Dawson. 3 out of 4 doctors approve. That's a lie. That's a complete lie. No doctors approve of smoking. All right, here we go. Thank you, Vice Presidential candidate Flintstone, and good luck and all that to your presidential race. Bro, I mean, they don't have anybody on the bench over there, them Democrats. Trump could run with Fred Flintstone and beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly.
Yeah, it's pitiful. Well, that's what
Facebook
happens
pills.
when you crush everybody that has any independent thought coming up behind you and destroy them and make them,
Yeah, when
do
you're
the
not in
group
the
think thing.
mainline narrative. Yeah. Yellow dog Democrats. If you're not voting Democrat, you might as well be voting for a yellow dog.
Yeah.
They said they removed my video for medical
I'm with you, mainline
I was like, what, they
Mitch.
remove another one?
Yeah. I like mainline Mitch's comment. Did you see that? It said, I graduated from tobacco
No,
to
I'm over here
sketchy
looking
Chinese
for,
nicotine disposable vape products made by 9-year-old kids in China.
Mainline Mitch with the zinger. Hey, I'll tell you what, Mainline Mitch, I called it a cigar shop, but it was a vape shop. But we sold cigars because I'm a vape salesman. But anyways, this dude came through there, and I'll expose him. I don't really care. I'll show you the article and everything. He came through there, and everywhere from the Fort Worth area all the way back up here to Okibama, he's got sold up with these Fugazi vapes, right? And I bought one time because we sold the real deal, made it right here in the good old U.S. of A. Just like Ma and Pa intended it to be. But I bought one of the fake ones. I took it home. It tastes like burnt plastic. So I did a little bit of investigating and found that a man who shares his last name, and actually he was the vice president of a previous company, was selling vapes, right? Well, it turns out that there was a big bust in 2018 that had $73 million worth of boxes, cartridges, and injectors for this vape stuff. I mean, name brand stuff. And so suffice it to say, they're running a big time gimmick. $73 million worth of the tubes,
sold right out the back door.
Yep, you know it. It probably came off the conveyor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Honestly, off the conveyor into somebody's truck. But I mean, oh my god, like, so if you people vape, and vaping is a whole lot of vaping is a whole lot better than smoking. I mean, there's a lot of tests out there you can see, but just be careful. Don't get them from the gas station.
No kidding. I tell you what, that is Craig. I graduated from a different school when I was a kid. I got them from my granddaddy to begin with in his C rations. He thought I was just eating the peanut butter and crackers and all that, but there was cigarettes and them things. And he was giving me boxes of them, and I was taking them home, and I was burning them up. But when I was a kid, when we went to the bus stop, all I had to do was walk like 100 yards down the hill to the little store down there, and they had a styrofoam cup sitting on the counter, and you could buy 2 cigarettes for a nickel. And they give them to you kids. You can be like 6 years old. They didn't care.
Well, I never really thought.
Is that for your mama, boy? Oh, yeah. They didn't care if that's you.
Yeah, mama's gone on to be with the Lord, so at this point it don't matter. But I remember being a little kid. We had one of those neighborhood stores, just a little store. You didn't have much. You couldn't get groceries in there or anything, but the basics. And yeah, I tried that, but I got to get into it. I sent it via Facebook Messenger like a dummy. But in any event, old Mr. Ellis was a war-hardened World War II veteran. I mean, you can see bullet holes on his arms and stuff. I mean, he was carved out of hickory. He's a cool guy, though. But my mom would send me around there. My young mind at the time didn't think that she had called ahead. But I wouldn't have dared done what you did, bro. I would be too afraid to get my brains beat out and sent to an insane asylum. But yeah, I'd go around there every now and again.
We didn't go to my granddad and grandmother's for a couple of weeks one time, and I run out, right? So I go in the house, and I was stealing some cigarette butts out of the ashtray. I was smart enough not to take the cigarettes out of the pack,
And you're what, 12 at the time?
No, I was about 5.
Oh my God!
I wasn't even in kindergarten yet. I was going to be going to kindergarten the next year. I remember.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he saw me getting them cigarette butts out of the ashtray. I thought he was in the bed asleep, because he worked night. And I went out there and lit me one up, and he said, "Hey, boy, what are you doing?" I was busted, So
he said, "I'm in favor, country, Paul."
I figured I was fixing to get it anyway, so I just I'm smoking a cigarette. He thought he was going to do the old trick, give me some of his Marlboros and make me sick, right? So he called me in there and set me down and said, "Here you go, son. Light you one of them." I said, All righty then. I lit me one up. Well, I didn't realize I've been smoking filterless Camels and Pall Malls for
Oh my
a
God.
year. You know, I mean, that ain't.
That are 40 years old.
Yeah, I'm sitting there burning that cigarette up, lighting one off the other one. After I got on them, but lit my about my third one. He just, oh, give me that. Put it out, ripped that belt off, and went to tearing my behind up. Don't you ever let me catch you another cigarette.
Yeah, bro. Pipe tobacco was my first one. It's probably why I smoke a pipe now. My dad would leave his pipe laying around, and he had to have known. But I thought I was really doing something. Put a toothpick right next to it so I could put it back right in the same like linear fashion.
Oh yeah.
He's probably watching me the whole time. And I choked to death, but it tasted like garbage. But I loved it for some reason. And that's called nicotine.
Oh,
But
yeah.
hell, even then I was like 11, bro. 5 years old. That's mad.
Oh, by the time I was 11, I was hardcore. I was buying them by
I
the
bet
carton.
you were. I bet you were smoking cigars by then.
Yeah, I was buying them by the carton.
Dang. Well, nothing's cooperating. Everything, it locked all my stuff down, so, oh well. Probably getting hacked. Well, folks, sorry, but I'm going to make it happen for you. It's early in the game. It's only 12. What do I look like, Joey Bananas?
Oh, yeah.
Good job to all you people with the blue wrench for knocking them on top of their head. You don't have to wait for me. If their name looks crazy, if you imagine them saying something stupid, you don't want to get rid of them. It's okay. How did we quit? How did you quit, Merle?
Vape. That's how I quit smoking cigarettes.
I still have a pipe.
You know, my doctor was one that put me on the vape. He said, well, back when he did it, they weren't called vapes or anything like that or e-cigs. They were called a nicotine inhaler. He told me, he said, nicotine is one of the most beneficial compounds ever discovered by man. It's a stimulant and a relaxant, and it also helps with your blood pressure and a lot of other things. It's whatever you need it to be. He says one of the only compounds like that. The only problem is the delivery systems that are available are deadly. He said, I know you think you're smoking tobacco, but they take that tobacco and they put it in a vat with 4,001 known cancer-causing carcinogens.
Yeah.
Then they take it after it soaks in that for almost a month, and they squeeze that juice out of it onto this paper that's got lines of gunpowder in it, cordite, so that it burns evenly, and roll it up and cut it up and let you smoke it. You're not smoking tobacco. You're smoking that juice and all them chemicals that they poured on this paper. Then they chop that paper up and put it in another piece of paper with gunpowder on it. And that's what you're smoking.
Unless it's pipe tobacco and certain brands of it, not even all of it.
Yeah.
And I found that out when last time we had this conversation. I went and looked, and it's hard to find. You got to dig deep, but they'll tell you the process. That's a part of their witchcraft, I think. That's pharmacia.
They got to tell
You know
you
what I'm
up
saying?
front. Yeah.
Yep.
That takes the stink. That takes the blood curse off of them. They think.
Yeah, they think. Because if we come into agreement, though we know it's bad for us, the area of responsibility then falls into our lap. But when you got to dig for an hour to find out the actual process of making a cigarette and what goes into it.
Brother, heck, those are the e-cigs as far as I know, or something like that. The one that I'm talking about was similar to this one. It didn't have as big of a tank on it, and this is a more modern one. But yeah, it was just a little square box, and you put the liquid in it.
I remember those. And they only had like tobacco and maybe another couple of flavors.
Yeah.
I can't say
they had regular tobacco, menthol, and some type of tobacco with orange in it was all they had back then. And a vanilla, that's right.
Yeah, I remember the vanilla. I thought it was gross back then. It choked me out. But the higher says Baron is a pipe of safe alternative. I'm not going to tell you it's a safe alternative because according to the Surgeon General, smoking in general is deadly for you. That being said, I prefer smoking pipe tobacco over cigarettes because of the fact that what Merle just said. You're going to be getting actual tobacco out of a pipe.
Instead of
if you're smoking a cigarette, yeah, no matter if it's name brand or not, that's what you're smoking.
Yeah.
juice and
It's gonna be a lot better for you than them cancer sticks.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I had a grandma that used to smoke a pipe, and like all not all, but most of the women, a couple of generations ahead of my mother lived to be like 90 something, 100. I think
My great grandmother did. She lived to be 90 something years old, and she smoked a pipe. And pinched snuff.
Yeah, yeah, I had a grandma that snorted and dipped that snuff too.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. I needed a couple of heads to chop off, Steve-O. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
no problem. You're doing good.
Yeah, you're doing phenomenal. Are you kidding me? He's probably just giving me hell. Why is that the consensus view? Let's give D-Doss a bunch of shit. What were we doing here? Oh, yeah, the feral people. See, all of them should just be chopping it up shows. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we end up doing anyways.
Yeah.
And people
it's
seem
more
to
fun.
Drop a one in the chat. Let's do a little consensus view. Would you rather see two cats on here being real, talking about a subject that may veer off, like a natural conversation? Or would you want to hear that canned, like super duper serious, he saw the Bigfoot and blah, 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 blah. And dur. What did you feel then? Were you afraid? I can't stand that stuff, bro. And I never like starting this back in 2015. I was a field investigator and always was. You know what I mean? I would try to watch some of these shows, but they all, it wasn't my cup of tea. And none of them talked to investigators. Nobody talked to field investigators. Maybe a couple. Scott Carpenter, the guy from up there in the Four Nations.
Yeah, J.C. Johnson.
J.C. Johnson was a savage.
Well, back when I first started listening to this stuff, people told real stories, and they was like, I came outside, I was putting the trash in the can, I heard something,
Yeah.
I looked around, I saw something big, brown and hairy move through the bush, and I got just about a half a second worth of look at its face, and it was gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And it scared the crap out of me.
Those are more interesting.
That was the end of the story, because that's
you could hear 5 of them in an hour. Yeah. Not
when you get to hear what it had for lunch, and they tried to marry
it was me and my Green Beret friends. We had 50 cows and we ran 30 miles down the rural road. No.
Yeah. Or I one of them found this straggly puppy beside the dead mama, and he took it back to his barn and raised it.
Yeah.
And it loved him forever.
I got lost in the woods when I was 13, and a mama Bigfoot put me in her knapsack and took me all the way 80 miles back home. And bro, this one was serious, and I believed it happened, but it's the craziest sounding one. And I don't remember the guy's name, but I wouldn't say it if I did. He was on a bunch of different shows back in the day. He saw a Bigfoot riding a red Mylar balloon, carrying a dead dog on a chain, floating over this mountain. And he said he sat and watched it for a good 10 minutes. Would I be interested in doing an edible and tree review with my products on your live? Absolutely. This is a state where marijuana is medically allowed. And if you have certain difficulties like sleeping or PTSD, OCD, so on and so forth, you can go to the state board and they will issue you a license to imbibe in that medicine. So the state of Oklahoma at least has that brains enough to understand that God created it.
Well, they've got those edibles now that are legal in all 50 states too.
No, really?
Yeah.
Then they can't be edibles.
They are. They just don't have a certain
trying to get
type of
somebody hemmed
THC
up,
in
bro.
it. No, you can buy them at the gas station.
Oh, CBD? Let me tell you something.
It ain't just CBD. Let's be honest. This is, they just filter one little piece of the THC out of there. There's several different types of THC, and
there is, yeah. And it's like, it has to be 0.1 something or beneath the B. But let me tell you something, bro. At that same vape store, and I guess this killed the chance of ever going back. Who cares? At the same vape store, we were sent pre-rolls, but they had to be CBD and all that stuff, right? Bro, I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I scratched the top label off of it, and it was a straight up. Now I don't want to say the name brand, but it's the most popular one there is. It was the real deal. We didn't sell any of them yet, but they were the real deal. And we ordered them from a big time vending magazine, and like they shipped us, instead of CBD, real marijuana. Actually, no, that's a lie. We did sell one of them. That guy did come back. He was like, "Man, that was the best CBD." I was like,
"That was the bomb."
Yeah, it was the bomb. It was great. I couldn't believe there wasn't THC in it. I'm like, yeah, well. If you're talking to me, Brother D, I don't know. Anything but oh yeah, Steve's a good guy. 83 people, ladies and gentlemen, and climbing. Welcome, folks, to the BDRP. I'm your host, D. Doss. Got a lot of new people. I'd suggest you hit the subscribe button because you're going to have a lot of fun with this. This isn't your typical Bigfoot and Dogman show where a couple of hillbillies just prattle on. This is a couple of rednecks prattling on. So, there's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
My long hair don't cover up my redneck. Remember that song?
Yep.
That dude was, he was something else. I've done that Delta 8. Yeah, Delta 8. Let me tell you something. Don't get it twisted. Just because it's CBD and they say they have extracted the thing that will make you flunk a PP test at your job, that stuff will have you on spaghetti legs.
Yeah, don't
allegedly.
Always.
That's what I hear.
It ain't 0% neither. It's something like 3 or 4%. They have to get it down to like 3 or 4%.
But it's. I thought it was 0.3 or 0.1 or something.
No, it's like 3, I think.
It has to be right beneath 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like 3.8 something. If you go to that 3.9, you're going to jail. Because that's marijuana. How the hell did we get to talk about? I guess there's marijuana where those feral people are.
Yeah. Well, look, the way I look at that is like this right here. And this is the way I've always looked at it. First off, the government has no authority to regulate what you can put in your body. They have no constitutional authority to be doing that. And they didn't pass a law to do it. They passed an executive order. Nixon did. And it was sent to him by the UN. And he said, okay, we'll do that. Sign an executive order. Every person that's sitting in the clink right now are being held, unconstitutionally.
Yeah. That's just all there is to it, no matter what.
That's between a person and God. And God plainly said in the Bible that he gave us all seed-bearing plants and herbs to use. He put that here for a reason. He designed it.
Verbatim.
Anybody that's got a problem with it needs to take that up with him.
And
now, if people are abusing it, that's a whole nother thing.
You can abuse any medicine. But it like
yes.
It's the only drug that nobody's ever, to the best of my knowledge, lost their minds on and went and
until they started messing with
this new strain. Yeah, these botanists are in there playing Frankenstein's
genetically
monster.
Modified.
Yeah, and they're putting their hands at the wonders of science, and some of that stuff should be classified as class 4 hallucinogens. In my opinion,
that or poison.
Yeah. What
but
about
the thing that God
body?
Gave us? They have no authority to tell you what you can do with your body.
It said what the higher says. What about defiling the body? Science and medicine has determined that people with cancer who have lost an appetite they take edibles or whatever the case is. That's not a problem anymore. There's a litany of things that it helps.
Yes,
I saw a video of a little girl having a seizure, and just the CBD oil. They gave her some of it instantly and instantaneously stopped that seizure.
And I'll tell you another one, sir. If you go to looking hard enough, I hear tell. I can't confirm it 100%, but I've heard some scholars say that this is the way the case rolls around, is the herbs that they put in the original anointing oil. One of those flowers was cannabis.
Yeah.
And that was a
I'll look up the
recipe
name
given
of
to
it.
Moses by God.
Yep. I mean, let's get real. Like cocaine
God
back in the
made
day
it.
was used for like all the stuff. All these things were used as medicines that worked. Cocaine was the first thing they used to numb your mouth for dentistry, tooth surgery.
And let's get that straight. Cocaine is a chemically processed plant and highly concentrated. If you use it the
Yes,
way God gave it to us, where you just put the leaf in your mouth and chew it, it would just
like
give you a
those,
boost. It just literally
like they
gave
do
you
in
a
South
boost.
America.
If you hasn't a tired, you was working all day and you're tired, you know, chew you a couple leaves, it gives you a little pick me up, and you work, and you didn't go crazy and do all kind of stupid stuff. They just used a natural plant, and as
And you
long as
know
you're using natural plants, God
the
gave them
way that
to
it
us for
grows.
medicine. Yeah,
Yes, and that's why states have. And I don't believe in it being recreational at all. I believe that it is a medicine and it should be used as such. So I mean, I don't think it's defiling the body if it benefits it in any kind of way. Same thing with psilocybin. Psychologists and psychiatrists are putting war veterans with heavy duty PTSD on small doses of psilocybin, and it's working better than any psychotropic drug they've ever tested. Anyone,
you
it's
know,
knocking them down.
doctors or healers going back to biblical times used cannabis oil
There's
to
nothing the
treat
matter with it.
all type of things. They've cured blindness with it, glaucoma. It actually will reverse glaucoma.
Thank you,
I mean,
Cubot.
there's a lot of things that it does, and God gave us every one of those plants and herbs to use, and they're all good for something.
To use, not
We
abuse. Now,
just
when
don't know.
pharmakia comes
Yes,
into it, just like my brother was saying, when pharmakia
that's
comes
a whole
into it,
nother thing.
is when
That's a
you're
whole nother
taking
thing.
what God made, taking something else, putting it together to create something new. That's alchemy.
Yes, yes,
I know that
and
wasn't your
using it
question.
in a way to what do you call it? Defraud people, to mislead people.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not being an advocate at all, but I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a lot of good, fantastic health points to it.
I'll tell you what
Anxiety.
my thoughts are on kratom. It's a good medicine if
I
you
didn't like
use
it,
it the
bro.
way it's intended.
There's 3 different strands.
Yeah.
And somebody told me that the most heavy duty one was the lightest, and I took the heavy duty one, the white vein.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro! I thought I'd like, and you can't overdose on that. That's all natural it's just straight ground plant.
Yeah, just make a tea out of it. You add it to a tea, and it helps with inflammation and pain. Elderly people need things that help with inflammation and pain.
Not only that, when I was managing that shop, bro, there was so many recovering addicts that came in that bought that kratom. They said this helped me kick heroin. This helped me kick oxycodone and fentanyl, that kratom stuff. And I was amazed that something. Well, I'll say amazed. It makes sense because it came straight from the earth. God puts everything that we need right here. We don't have to get some pharmacist or some chemist to start conjuring a bunch of stuff together that's side effects is suicide. Are you kidding me?
I'll tell you something, Monkey Boy. Yes, God made poison ivy and death cap mushrooms too. You ever heard of foxglove? It's deadly poison, unless you've got heart disease.
Let's read the question for the people who watching afterwards.
Yeah.
Monkey Boy, or the statement. Monkey Boy says God made poison ivy and death cap mushrooms too. We can't say God made it for medicine just because it's a plant. We're not saying it's you want to see the actual health benefits? I guess he just came onto the show. Like, we're not saying it just because it's a plant. We're not saying to eat celery because we think it's going to cure cancer. We're not giving any medical advice. We're just making a
But
statement.
there are also poisonous plants that are considered poisonous. But when you have a medical condition, it's medicine for you. That's the point I was making.
And that's what Chris Beard just said.
Yeah, foxglove is poisonous. You take too much of it, it'll stop your heart, but it stops heart arrhythmia too, and keeps people from having a heart attack. That's where digitalis comes from. It
feels like we're in the
millions of people's lives.
1931. We're in 1931 having this argument. This is the 21st, 24 years into the 21st century. This isn't anything new.
No.
I mean, I don't know how old
People
Monkey
have
Boy is or
used
whatever.
this stuff for a millennia.
It's just
And
some weird
governments came
stigma around
along
it.
and didn't want people using natural medicine that God gave them. And they decided, well, you've got to have something made out of a petrochemical that's made by the Rothschilds and you know
Yeah,
who,
you're
the
absolutely right, Monkey Boy.
Rockefellers.
Yeah, they're literally giving us stuff to cure things that, I mean, honestly, you can't cure with a pill. If you got depression, my friend, that's called a spirit of heaviness. That's why your shoulders slump.
Yes.
It feels like you can't pick yourself up. That's literally a spirit of heaviness, literally pushing down on you.
That's
The things that you used to
oppression.
enjoy. Yeah, the things you used to enjoy bring you no joy. No
It's
enjoyment.
demonic
You're just walking
oppression
around.
is what it
that's
is.
a demonic oppression. That's exactly right. And that spirit is an individual, just like you're an individual. You have to deal with it in a spiritual way. You can't, just like I can't fight fire with some sort of accelerant. You can't fight these things like depression. In my humble opinion, this is just me. I'm not a medical expert, but you can't fight that with some sort of something that's supposed to mess with your brain's chemistry. The brain is the brain. The mind's a part of the spirit. And you can't deal with the spiritual problem with the natural way, because the spirit and the flesh war against each other. And things of the spirit war against things of the flesh, and vice versa. So that's just my humble opinion. I'm not asking anybody to acquiesce to it or to buy it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Pray about it. Pray to your deity about it and see what they say.
Yeah.
But
The
I'll tell you
main
what, though,
thing
folks.
that we have a
Go ahead,
problem
brother.
with is these sorcerers that are
Yeah.
these pharmaceutical companies that are mixing these petrochemicals together that knows good and well they're killing people with it, and they don't care. They've already
they don't
factored
care.
in how much they're going to pay out for the big class action lawsuit, and they've made several billion above that, so they laugh all the way to the bank.
They factored in the deaths as they're making the
Yeah.
medicine. That's the
Yeah.
sad thing about it. That's a part of the statistics.
What was
They
wasn't it
they crunch those
Catherine
numbers.
Albrecht? Catherine Albrecht was I think it was, that was the banker for one of the big international banks, and she had one of the heads of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world in there, and they were trying to get a loan to start production on this new drug, and she come across one of the studies saying how many people it was going to kill, and she brought that up, and he said, "Oh, that's no problem. We've already factored that in." She said, "What do you mean we
Yes,
factored that
yes,
in?
I
Well, we know
remember
how
that.
much the class action lawsuit will cost, and we're gonna make several billion above that. It's not an issue."
Yeah,
She
and they were
refused to
and
write
they
him
were
the
already
loan, and the
prepared.
bank fired her.
Fired her, got rid of her, and I think they blackballed her, bro. I don't think she ever went back to any kind of financial institution. They
Not
blackballed
as
her
far as I know. Yeah.
because she was a decent human being. She was like, no, you're factoring in the debts that this is going to cause. It's supposed to be helping people. What are you talking about? Like, hey, that's business, baby. What are you talking about? Where you come from? This is how it's been done. So I mean, like, and Monkey Boy, I understand what you were saying now, and he's on our side of the fence with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, I do too. I wasn't being ugly to him. I got
No,
what
yeah,
you're
I
saying.
mean,
I was just saying you can't.
And
I
neither
get
was
what
I.
you're saying, but we also have to realize that poison sometimes is the cure, as the old saying goes.
yeah, like I said, though, psilocybin is only found in mushrooms, right? Most of which are
Yeah.
poisonous. That's what when
Aaron
people,
Billings said it right too. The Rockefellers destroyed thousands of years of holistic medicine. For
yes,
their petrochemicals.
purposely, on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. They
Not only
hired
that-
a known felon that was a literal snake oil salesman named Morris Fishbein to form the American Medical Association, and go around suing people into poverty every time they come up with a cure for any disease.
And really, that's why I'm really being picky in my language, because folks, as a creator here on YouTube, YouTube is now really dialing down on people saying, oh, well, it's
Anything.
phony baloney medical advice. But where are they getting their medical advice from?
Yeah.
The stoned ape theory. That sounds familiar, but like, let's look it up. Like that, early man got stoned, and that's how our evolutionary process started. Isn't that what that is?
I figured it was more along the lines of them things of getting into people's marijuana fields.
They don't
Be
mess
very
with
scary,
marijuana, from
but-
what I understand. That's what I
I've
hear.
heard different. Yeah, well, I've
Yeah?
heard different.
No kidding. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean,
I
their
can get rid of
biology's
that
different.
rumor right now. I can get rid of that
Yeah.
rumor right now. That's not true.
That's hogwash.
Yes.
It seems like it would be. You know what I mean? Like if I had
Yeah.
nothing to do but play with sticks and stare at the dirt all day, and I seen some like magic mushrooms, I'd be like, huh, let me try these out, and I'd be in a world of pure imagination for the rest of the day, part of the night.
I don't know how they do with magic mushrooms, but I know they do like cannabis.
And why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? I think they ferment fruits and vegetables.
Well, you know them macaque monkeys eat the fermented fruit and get drunk.
Yep.
Down on
Yeah.
them islands in the Caribbean.
They're
And they got to
stumbling
where
around
they
like
would
it's
even
St.
come
Patty's
and
Day.
take people's mixed drinks from them because they got turned into
Yeah.
alcoholics. From
That's
eating that
crazy.
fermented fruit.
I saw a video.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah,
They're
if a
stumbling
macaque
around like
monkey
they're
with a
killing
brain
the
the
bar.
size of a walnut can figure that out, you know darn well them big boys are figuring it out.
Yeah, no doubt. Could you imagine happening upon
Yeah.
one of these things and it's 3 sheets to the wind? Hopefully it'll be one of those
Oh, no.
happy drunks.
Happy
You know what I'm
drunks,
saying?
yeah.
A happy drunk, yeah. One that just wants to laugh and regale you with old
Yeah, and
stories.
give you a hug and say, I love you, man.
I love you,
I love
man.
you, bro.
I'm sorry for messing with you last year at your campsite, man. I was going through some things. Oh, could you imagine if it was one of the crying drunks, sobbing and carrying on? You hear that big wailing voice come from. Ah, that's enough to make you
That
boo
would
on
be
yourself.
awful.
Yeah,
But I'd rather it be that than the mad drunk.
Yeah, if you get the mad drunk, I said turn off that damn
You're in
TV. Oh lordy, that's great. But man, like, yeah, I have to change the name of this show. This is the last late show. It'll all be chopping it up with Baron and Merlin from now on. Need some agua. Having too much fun.
Oh, yeah. Me and
But
you
here we go, Aaron Billings. And for all you people who've contributed, I got only a few emails from our contributors. If you've contributed 1 red cent to the BDRP, shoot me your email, OklahomaDawes, OKLAHOMA, at gmail.com, and you're going to receive something really special from me to you. If you'd like to contribute, there's links in the chat with you now and in the description box below. And again, we give no medical advice on this channel. We only give opinions. And speaking of opinion, this isn't an opinion, this is fact. William Randolph Hearst is the one, because with all the wondrous things you can do with cannabis, he wanted to have a newspaper that used a different material. So he took paper pulp, which is a whole lot more arduous to get and manufacture. But the hemp was, that was the bee's knees as far as newspapers and stuff go. So he had to throw some sort of a bad light on hemp. He was like, hey, you didn't hear black people smoke hemp and go crazy and lay harm to white women. Put it in the evening news. And then, John Q. Public seen this, and they're like, oh, shit. No, we don't want nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
And you could see old videos of them burning the whole fields.
Those black jazz musicians are coming for
Those
your
black
wife.
jazz musicians. You know it, bro. Like Reefer Madness. The guy sitting there losing his mind playing the piano. That's what they thought marijuana did to you back in the day.
Your
Guy
wife will
jumps
fall
out
in
the
love and
window.
run away, and you'll never see her again. And your daughter, too. And maybe even your mom.
They played that at school. That Reefer Madness. They
I
played
know,
that at
I
school
saw
all the
it
way up to
until the 80s.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
craziness. It was a teacher that showed me when I was like in the 9th grade. And they were like, when I was in high school, this is what they were saying marijuana was. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Oh, they
The
told
girls
us
losing their mind as the dudes
big,
playing the piano.
it would make the dudes grow breasts like a woman.
Yeah.
They told us.
Bro, that thing said some craziness. Now that you mentioned it.
And you could smoke it one time and you'll go mad.
You could smoke it one time
completely
and you
mad.
there's the possibility that you could go completely mad. The dude's playing, his eyes rolling up in the back of his head, playing jazz piano.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You could have showed me
It
that if
was
I was
ridiculous.
if I was in 1948. You could have showed me that. I was like, get me some of that, what they call marijuana. I want to try it. I could be the next great jazz musician. It is madness, bro, but it's the same propaganda is out today. Nobody in the world is going to tell me that marijuana that has so much medical use, good medical use that's helping people with cancer and all these other afflictions, is on the same playing field as heroin and methamphetamines and fentanyl. That's preposterous. That's preposterous. Let's get real.
Nope.
What? The world we live in, God help us. And it's the world that was. You know what I'm saying? Let's push back those things of God, the things that he put here naturally for us. And let's bring up these things, this pharmakia, this sorcery.
Yeah. That may make you commit suicide or go gamble till you lose your house.
Yeah, homicidal tendency.
Did you see that
Gamble
one?
till you,
They've got this thing for restless leg syndrome, and said one of the side effects can cause increased risk-taking behavior. Some people have been known to gamble away all their possessions, including their house.
Yep.
What? I think I'll take the restless leg syndrome.
No doubt.
Get up, walk around a little bit.
Yeah. I'm kicking my old lady in the middle of the night every now and again. I'll take that rather than losing her home. It's madness, bro.
I imagine she would too.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's crazy.
Now, I used to have that restless leg syndrome, bro. It was when I was, I had anxiety for a little bit. And Lord just opened me up. He was like, "Are you ready to get rid of that?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." Yeah, I prayed, and bro, anxiety gone. I used to have it where I would like, when I was a younger man, where I would like begin to hyper. I thought I was having like miniature heart attacks. I was going to the ER, and they're like, "You're fit as a fiddle. You don't smoke." And I'm like, "I do smoke." My lungs were clear. You know what I mean? Like perfect health. I'm like, "No, I just had a heart attack." And they're like, "Son, we just hooked you up to a heart monitor. Your heart's great." I'm like, oh, okay then. It's crazy, man. And it's all spiritual afflictions. Spiritual afflictions.
Yep.
That's why Christians live like, bro, it baffles me. Like
You're right, Monkey Boy. Do you see that? Restless leg is usually caused by vitamin deficiency. Yep. It's usually potassium deficiency that causes it. Same thing that causes Charlie horses. Eat a banana.
Wow. Maybe that's what helped. I was craving bananas around that time. Maybe the Lord just kind of plop that in there.
Yeah, they're very high in potassium. It helps.
Bananas are fantastic.
Charlie horses. Oh yeah, they're great, and they taste delicious too.
Another thing God gave her for our good and well-being.
Yep. You know, all the doctors back before the turn of the last century would tell you food is medicine.
Yeah. And medicine has done a lot of good. It's come a long way. Them figuring out the gut's biodome and how to reset it to where it's supposed to be. And as far as like healthy
people
eating,
already knew that. They already knew that.
But it wasn't out there at the forefront.
They got it from fermented things like wine and things like sauerkraut or kombucha.
Like the Bible says, it's good for thy digestion.
Yes.
Who's that? Paul the Apostle said that.
Yeah.
Read all about it in the Bible. Isn't that awesome?
All things in moderation.
Yep. See, and that's with anything, like our attitudes, our desires. If we're desiring to be the best CEO at the company we're in, that desire can easily turn into pride, anger, lust. Lust isn't just a sexual thing. We talked about that in the study. Yeah.
Yes.
We've seen men lust after crazy things over the past year. Power is the one that, like, lusting after power drives men mad. It drives them mad.
It's more dangerous than just about anything.
Yeah.
Or attention. Attention.
Yes. And that attention being somehow like attached to it's a spiritual thing too. Like you have
their
to
sense
have
of self-worth. Yeah, it's a demonic oppression is what it is.
And it's the flesh. You know, they're basing their wants and needs strictly in the flesh. Like, my fleshly mind needs the adoration.
Their entire self-worth sometimes on just attention. It's crazy.
Bro, and I'll think about that sometimes and how, like, not to throw a stick in the spokes of the positivity, but when I first came back, there was a handful of people that were awful sour towards me. To think if I, like, put any merit towards that. You know what I mean? If I let that dictate anything, you know what I'm saying? Any of my involvement with this channel or any other channel. Like, that would suck, because I enjoy coming on and talking to the folks and interacting with them.
Yeah.
And that would
Brother
be
Heck,
me robbing myself of that.
I see your comment there. You say wine back then was only like 6%, and it was basically strong grape juice, and it was powder you added to water. That's not. That's not
No, that's
true.
not true.
I
That's
don't know
not
who
true.
told you
Wine was
that.
wine. Yeah. I've
And I'm
heard
gonna
that
tell you
said
something.
before.
The wine that we have now is regulated by the federal government, and the alcohol content is reduced.
Yeah.
The wine they had
Wine was
back then
wine.
was stronger than wine you buy in the store now.
They told me that back in when I went to Christian.
Yeah.
I don't know where it
Or
came from. They didn't
it
give
was
any kind
really
of
grape
historical.
juice. I went to churches where they said it was really grape juice. No, it was wine.
Yeah, I've been in church that said that too. I've been in church that gave wine. The kids couldn't imbibe when we took communion. So
I've been to church where they gave wine and the kids did.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not illegal for a parent to let a child have a little bit of wine, especially with communion.
especially with communion. You're right. Well, this was Southern Baptist Church, so they were lucky. to be
So was this
wine.
one. This was a Southern Baptist church.
It must have been an
Yes.
independent. Yeah. God bless the
No,
independent.
it was
Baptist
literally
churches out there.
it was an association Baptist church.
No kidding. It must have
But
been back
brother,
in the
we're
day when the
talking
world was
about
normal.
we're talking about in the
Yeah,
70s.
we're talking about when the world was normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, bro. I told the folks a couple of weeks ago about the 401c3 or whatever, the tax. What do you call it? Where they don't tax churches. 401c3.
Yeah, the 501c3.
501c. I'm sorry.
501c3.
And
yeah.
how they were it is 401c3, right? Yeah, they were acquiescing during COVID. When the liquor store was open, the medicinal marijuana stores here in town were open. The first thing you see if you go down I-35, when you're traveling down I-35 south, you go from Oklahoma to Texas. You look immediately to the right, you see a "Welcome to Texas" sign. 100 yards right across that bridge is a big porn store. That was open.
Wow.
How could you not look it up on Google Maps, bro? It's crazy.
Oh, I know you're telling the truth because the same thing was happening here.
These places of vices.
The Topless Dancer Club was open.
Are
the
you serious?
ABC store. No, it's a heart attack.
How could they justify that? Oh, they
That's a
socially
darn
distanced
good
this
question. Those are sex workers. You can't tell them they can't make a living.
But every time you can turn on the news without some preacher going to jail because he refused to close his doors.
Right.
At first they said we'll lose that 401c3. Lord will provide. But then it went on. They said, you don't have a choice in the matter now. You're going to shut it down and you're going to jail. All those men should be compensated for the time they lost when they were kidnapped. In my humble opinion.
Listen to this. Light Ray 95 says, I've heard that Jesus' wine wasn't alcoholic because it was made new and not fermented. That's funny to me because everybody that drank that wine said, wow, you saved the best wine for last. Do you honestly think they were saying that for non-alcoholic wine?
Yeah, they said, you didn't bring out the best wine first.
Yeah, most people bring out the best wine, let them have a few drinks, and once the alcohol gets to them, they go to the cheap wine. But you did it the other way around. You gave the cheap wine first and saved the best for last.
And that's regal. That's class right there. I don't know where people get this. It's like
it's a religious spirit. It's a religious spirit.
We're trying to apply our what do you call it, Earl?
We're trying to apply logic.
Not logic. It's a type of false goodness or self. We superimpose what we believe is good and what we believe is pious onto the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I've had people tell me, and I told you about this, that Jesus would not condone violence.
Oh Lord, I know. That's crazy.
He would not condone violence. Yeah, like you talking about Jesus, some guy you work with at Rent-A-Center or something, because Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, said, "I did not come here to make peace or bring peace. I came with a sword. The sword is not a gardening tool." He whipped the money changer and had enough time to change his mind because he sent Peter to the market to get the straps so he can hand make it himself.
Yep.
This Diet Pepsi, Pert Plus in his hair Jesus that everybody's looking to. What's going to happen when this man with glowing eyes riding a horse, and he's got a vesture dipped in blood, dripping from the sky. What's going to happen when he shows up? Revelations 19, my favorite verse in the favorite book of the Bible.
It's a religious spirit. I'm going to tell you this because I've seen it too many times. Every one of these weird New Age religions, every Mad Jack one of them nearly, one of the first things they start doing is telling you can't have anything with alcohol in it and you can't eat meat. And,
you know who else that sounds like? Adolf Hitler. Don't you know? Told his the Nazis, no meat, no alcohol. All the way back to the John D., a known vegetarian. The Bible says something about that too.
Yep.
Anybody telling you not to eat
no
meat,
man
and
judge
meat's
you
not
in
good for
meat or marriage and several other things. I'm telling you, when the people start trying to teach you that kind of stuff, you know you're in the wrong place. The Lord said that we were supposed to partake of the fruits of our labors. And that's an idiom. That was a figure of speech that was used at the time for people who had a little drink of wine after they come in after a hard day's work.
Amen,
enjoying
Joshua
the
Johnson.
fruits of their labors.
Yep.
Exactly.
Now, I'm going to look up all these verses for you. Teddy says, Jesus uses violence one time and against people who should have known better. You sure about that? You sure about that? I would like to read you something. I'm glad you said that. I would like to read you, if it's okay with everybody, my favorite verse in the Bible. We all know God sits outside of time and space. There was a forever in the past. There'll be a forever in the future. Jesus was in both. This is Revelations 19. So everything that's happened that you've read has happened with him. And again, folks, if you would like to contribute to this awesome channel, you may do so using the links in the chat with you, as well as the description box below. It really helps us out because you can't give the Bible no sugar, no cream without somebody trying to suppress you, oppress, push you down in the algorithm. That's just all there is to it. I'm not telling you what I think or feel. I'm telling
Censor,
you what
demonetize, or outright run you out of town.
But let us be on here talking about the merits of Lucifer or something, some Luciferian doctrine. I mean, they pushed it to the forefront. We wouldn't even have to mention his name, just that new agey. Anyways, this is Jesus using violence in the Bible. Again, we have to understand that this is a multidimensional book. God sits outside of time and space and sees past, present, and future all in one continuous flow. And after all, the Revelations 19, and the infallible text says, and after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God, for true and righteous are his judgments. For he had judged the great whore, which did corrupt the whole earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 4 and 20 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshiped God that sat on the throne. I like how they make the distinction. The God that sat on the throne, because there's another God that shows up, and it's the same God. I know what that sounds like. Cafeteria line Christian and agnostic, but bear with me. Let's speed up to the good part. It's all good part, not denigrating any of it. It's the part I like the best. Revelation 19:9. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God. And this is our brother in the faith, John the Apostle, writing on the Isle of Patmos. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See, thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, capital F, capital T. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. Judge and make war. So again, this Perk Plus, Diet Pepsi, let's hold hands and sing in the rain Jesus don't exist. He exists out there in that. He's the one that went to Egypt.
He's
and learned
that
from the
other
great
Jesus.
ages. That's that other Jesus that they talk about in Matthew chapter 24. That's him. We don't adhere to that guy over here. He's a rank devil.
You know what Jesus, one of his first commandments to his apostles was? If you don't own a sword, go sell your cloak and buy one.
Cloak being the most
It was the
expensive
death
thing that a
penalty
man can make. Yeah.
to
You're right.
touch
Under
even a
Roman
wooden
occupied,
copy of a sword unless you were a Roman citizen, and most of them weren't born Roman citizens and weren't Roman citizens at all.
no.
He was telling them
They were
to
in
commit a crime that was worthy of the death penalty. Go
and that's death
buy
on the
you
spot.
one.
Yep, that's death on the spot. That's not let's take him to the gallows. If they saw you with a replica of a sword, they're gonna smoke your game right then and there, quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's the Jesus we're talking about. That's my Lord and Savior. So I don't know what it blows my mind. People don't read the Bible, bro. That's just all there is to it. They're taking what the preachers tell them and trusting that verbatim. And I'm not saying whoever made that comment, I'm not saying that's you, but I mean let's be real.
Yeah,
Talk
got to
real,
keep it real.
Christian. Yeah, let's keep it real. Like, what are we talking about?
Mainline Mitch, I want to tell you something. I saw your comment up there where it says lots of corruption and unhealthy practices in the meat industry. You're 100% right. There is, but it's worse in the vegetables and fruits. They're literally mixing them all together.
What is it called?
Hold on, just let me tell you this part.
Yeah,
my
bad.
Every vegetable you eat is genetically modified. Almost every single one of them at this point in time are genetically modified, and they're being fertilized with synthetic fertilizer that is dang near deadly, that has no nutrition in it, and then washed off with chemicals that they know cause cancer. So
they're cloning those seeds and putting all kinds of stuff in them that can grow from the seed itself. So they're not letting farmers replant. Something they've done since we started farming this country.
Yeah, Terminator seeds. They grow the vegetables and the seeds don't produce. Some of them don't even have seeds. So you have to go back to them every year to buy a new seed.
So they're forcing your hand.
If you really want to eat healthy, the best way to eat healthy is to go hunt your own meat.
Yep, that's exactly right. And that's what people are doing. That's what I say. Like, people are opening their eyes to what's going on. And God bless y'all who are doing it. They're growing their own.
Yes.
They're growing their own vegetables.
They're grow our own vegetables.
Yeah, they got their own pigs, some of them, who got the room to do it.
We got our own chickens. Matter of fact, we tilled up the garden this last week. Matter of fact, you was on the phone with me when we was out there doing it, remember?
Yep. I don't have one, Jared Russell.
What is Bofa?
I have no idea, bro. I would say Revelations is a book the majority of Christians were unaware of for 300 years. I am not the largest fan of Revelations, mostly the apostles and Paul's epistles.
Revelations is the only book of the Bible that tells you, blessed are you that read and keep the prophecies of this book. You're guaranteed a blessing from it.
The only book.
I don't know why so many Christians are afraid of Revelations.
Because they're afraid of it. It gives you the future. We sitting as we are right now in our flesh, we're going to live 60, 80, 100 years. Isn't a wisp of smoke in the air compared to eternity. It shows you eternity. It lets you go thousands from here back to the past and back all the way into the future. Thousands of years. And people are afraid of that. That's what it is. It's fear. You know what I'm saying?
Look at Brother Heck's question.
Where we at?
What are your thoughts of the Essene Christians of the early church who didn't eat meat? The Essenes. They're Gnostics.
Yeah, they're Gnostics. They were Gnostic Christians.
They're not Christians. They're Gnostics.
They were. Yeah, they were Gnostics. They weren't Christian because they mixed in all that those pagan rituals and stuff.
And Kabbalah.
Yeah. They took everything, but the Bible, what we know as the Bible, was just at the front. They also took in all this other stuff. So, I mean, I guess that was them not putting any God before God, but they had some attaches. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, to say
lots of esoteric stuff from the Gnostics, if I remember. Yeah. Those first, second, third, fourth, fifth century Christians, who's going to say anything to them? You know what I mean? We were just now starting to build the church then. What are
Yes,
your guys'
the
thoughts
the
on the
Essenes
pagan
had some of the
holidays?
earliest copies of the Gospels, but the Gospels ain't all they had by a long shot. They
No,
had
not
a
at all.
bunch of other stuff in there that was just straight up blasphemous.
And a lot of the wacky stuff that they try to attach to the apocryphal, that's not really apocryphal words. I've seen some weird books called apocryphal. Um, some of those come straight from those guys.
I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
All right, brother. A lot of compromise back then, just like now. Let me tell you something. Whoever asked that question about the Gnostics or whatever, um, folks, I ain't ashamed to tell you because it's a part of my life. I was a Gnostic and didn't know it. I was taking in any and every religious text you could, anything you could think of. Like I was inundating myself with outside of like the straight up Luciferian devil shit. I think I may have flipped through the pages. I did read half of an Aleister Crowley book. I forget which one, but it went straight to the wastebasket after that. I knew that guy was lost in the sauce. But Gnostic, it comes from I think the Greek word gnosis, to know. So gnosis or Gnostic, one who knows. Agnostic, one who does not know. Have you guys heard those who preach all of the revelations was fulfilled in 70 AD, despite being written in 95 AD? I've seen a pretty well put together documentary about that, but it has far too many holes for it to be viable. Far too many. There were things that did not take place that nobody will talk about if they're adhering to that doctrine that couldn't have taken place back then. They were at times in the future and that have already gone by. I got one, since that's what we're moving into, this Gnostic type thought. Think about this. There more than likely is some sort of a multi-dimensional plane. I do believe that. Because if you think about it, how could we be given a true, fair chance if every last portion of our personality wasn't able to come to the forefront? Because we are a conglomeration of emotions, right? No man can walk through life and not get angry. No man can walk through life and not be happy, not at least once. And it goes into the intricate nature of what a spirit is. That's why I say the mind is attached to the spirit. The brain's attached to the body. We don't have to think about our heart beating, our air going into our lungs when we breathe. That's a mechanism that's a part of the brain, that's an automatic function. The mind is where our personality lives. And if we serve a just and good God like I believe we do, wouldn't he recognize that? And since his powers of creation is infinite, they're infinite, they're vast. If you don't believe that, look at how many new creatures are found every single year. It'll blow your mind. Now think about this vast universe we live in. He's called the creator. Why would he stop creating? You see what I'm saying? And I believe the only element that's the same through all these multiple dimensions is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's why he's the first and the last. That's my opinion. And I'm talking publicly what I would talk to, a close brother in the faith about privately. I read that part of that too, that Diary of a Drug Fiend. Yeah, he was a sad man. He's a piece of shit too.
Yeah.
He threw his best friend off a mountain and got mad at his wife because they went to was it the Great Pyramid? They had their honeymoon beneath the Great Pyramid, and he got pissed off because he was trying to call a spirit into himself, but it went into his wife, and he didn't talk to her for like days.
He sacrificed his own son. That man sacrificed his own son.
And I don't want to get into the rest of it because this dude, he had it in his mind that he was going to be the most wickedest man there is.
Yeah.
But I just thought, I would just share with them a theory I had of the multiple dimensions, and it's proven fact. I mean, you scientists and atheists and agnostic, thumb your nose at me if you want to, but look up the gods that you serve. They're in Geneva, Switzerland, and see what they have to say about the matter. The director said not only can we, but we have open portals to another dimension. And we can bring something from that dimension here, or we can send something from our dimension there.
Those next level quantum computers supposedly get their answers from another dimension.
They borrow resources, according to Jordy White. They borrow resources from another dimension, and they read zeros and ones at the same time. That's two pieces of physical matter sharing the same space at once. That's supposed to be impossible, but it's not if
Good night,
they are in a
mainline
layer
Mitch.
right beneath ours. Good night, Mitch. And Mitch wanted me to remind you to hit that like button, hit subscribe, click the bell, and all that good stuff, because we have fun in the summer sun, the springtime sun.
Yeah. God bless you, brother.
And all you wallflowers, don't be bashful. You want to just stopping in, go ahead and hit like. It ain't going to hurt you. Or hit dislike, too.
Matter of fact.
I mean, if you don't like it.
Yeah. It might make you feel good inside.
Might make you feel better, yeah. You know, that temporary satisfaction you...
Dopamine hit.
Now. That dopamine hit. Boom. That's straight out of H.P. Lovecraft. What is? Oh, the multiple dimension thing? H.P. Lovecraft he was a bum back in his day, bro. Nobody bought his bullshit books. It was only after he died. You know what I mean? Like H.P. Lovecraft, piss on H.P. Lovecraft.
He died poor.
He died poor and a busted, broken man. His wife left him. She said, "Oh, you beat it, creep."
I'll never forget. I asked my dad, I said, "Why did you name me Byron?" He said, "Well, I named you after the writer, Lord Byron." I said, "Daddy, didn't you know that he died friendless and penniless as an alcoholic?" He said, "No, I really didn't." I said, "Well, thanks."
Yeah, right. See, I didn't have a great story like that behind what my name is originally. I was about to be Freddie Doss III. You know how awesome that would have been? FD3. I could have added on the back of my.
That would have been awesome.
Would have been awesome.
I'm the third Merle. Unfortunately, though, we all have a different first name, just the same middle name and last name.
It was gay, bother me none. It was great enough for you to leave a comment that helps in the algorithm. So I appreciate that, sweetheart. You don't have to worry about it anymore, though. We'll see you later. Thanks again for stopping by. I appreciate it. That was an ex-girlfriend of mine. She's a sweetheart. You know, you can get along with somebody.
Yeah, she seems like a real sweetheart.
She was, and it was my fault. You know what I mean? I'll take full responsibility. You see how sweet she was. She took time to stop by and say hi. But she didn't have to do that. That was not but kindness.
Yeah, that was mighty nice of her.
It's mighty white of her.
It was mighty nice of her. Yeah, that too.
Where did that come from, mighty white of her? Yeah. My dad used to say that. I kind of look at him like.
A lot of people used to say that.
Yeah, it was just a thing. It wasn't like, I don't think it was like necessarily a racist thing. Or maybe it was.
People from both races said it.
Yeah, I mean, I had uncles that said it.
Yeah, my dad said it. You tell people all the time, that's mighty white of you.
Trump 2024.
They didn't seem like they appreciated it much.
No. Well, I mean, weren't they Indians? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I would tell them, you know, when somebody reneges, but I appreciate that, Dr. Jeffel. Yeah, we'd get demonetized. Folks, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can tell or not. You've seen some rascals come in there. You ain't gonna hurt our feelings. Like, we're just blocking, banning, and keep it rolling. That's what's called being an adult.
To be honest, I find a lot of it really funny. Sometimes I'm laughing so hard, I find it hard to hit the button.
Bro, you don't know how hard it is to delete some of it. And the sad thing about it is, I shouldn't even say it, but it's most of the racist stuff that I want to show because it's kind of funny, a little bit. Because it's so absurd. It's so absurd. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Like, if we're 2024 and people are throwing out like blatantly, ridiculously racist comments, it's like, come on now. Really, guy? Didn't you see in Texas in 2015 they buried the N-word and there's no more racism anymore. We've conquered it. We won.
It's crazy.
We big trumping in this place. You better believe it. You want to see some Trump? I'll show you some Trump here in a minute.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he knows, he or she. Yeah,
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm helping him with his campaign donations. If you just
You're speaking to the campaign manager. He's one of the campaign managers. Yeah.
We like to keep that on the down low, because the controversial past of myself and vice presidential candidate Fred Flintstone. But we're moving forth anyway.
Brother Heck, I'm certain of it. I know for a fact Bigfoot's racist.
No, that's bull. That's a bunch of baloney. That's a bunch of baloney. Trump, no, it's not racist. Bro, let me show y'all. Since this is a Bigfoot channel, we got a lot of people in here. So let's get into it. Because we got a lot of new folks that don't know me from a can of paint. My name is the Baron DDoS, and I'm the Baron of Brown Springs. Brown Springs is a strip of jungle down in southern Oklahoma. And I spent the better part of 6 years as a field investigator in this area. You may there's a gentleman with a channel called Texas Front Porch. He is what would you call it? He goes down in there and he goes to a portion of Brown Springs, and he was an understudy of mine, a field research partner, and he's doing some things down there. He's moving and shaking, and he's keeping my seat warm for me, and I appreciate that. I think I may abandon Brown Springs though. But anyways, I want to show you some of the stuff that I've picked up through the wood. I saw Bigfoot in Fort Worth, Texas. Did you really? Did you see him at Lake Worth? Bigfoot didn't do nothing. I'll take that into consideration. Wesley says Bigfoot didn't do nothing. Or maybe that's a British dude.
Bigfoot don't care if you're white, if you're black, or you're red or yellow.
You're ridding the shit out of all.
You're not hairy. You're not hairy, so he is racist.
But that's not a race, though, really. That's the species. He's
Are you kidding me? That's the only thing that is a race that's different. Humans, we're all different colors and everything, but we're the same race. That's what I'm saying. You're right. There ain't no sense.
Yeah.
Yes, that does make sense. Get it?
I kinda, yeah, a little bit. But hey, they love the shit out of me.
Yeah.
They did,
you know
bro.
what? I'm pretty sure that a lot of those black guys I went to school with when I was like one of the only white people in the school that I lived at one time, that was all the time calling me cracker and everything. Some of them liked me a lot too.
What are you talking about?
But they was racist as hell.
Well, hey, that one. I'll show you the racist Bigfoot. Y'all want to see racist Bigfoot? That's what I'll change this to, and I'll even put the Tom. Folks, I'm going to show you a racist Bigfoot. You got him on video, Dr. Jeffel. If you want to email me, I'll have you on my show as a guest. We're starting a new interview series, and I'd love to sit down and talk to you about it. Oklahoma DOS, I'll put that in the chat too, and that goes for anybody. OklahomaDOS@gmail.com. Was a member of the Aryan Kings and the Black Nationalist Liberation.
Yeah, he is the best of both worlds. He can run in any circle.
Let me tell you something.
And ain't nobody got the guts to back him down.
I used to think Bigfoot was us without the image of God. I don't think that anymore. I think it's some sort of an animal that's closer to us than an animal. We're getting good savages in here now. I don't mind some savage. I'm a savage myself, folks. That deserves to be highlighted. Bigfoot, both a member of the Aryan Kings and the Black Nationalist Liberation. He is the best of both worlds. If you would have told me somebody was going to say that yesterday, I would have said, yeah, Bigfoot ain't racist. I agree with J-Dad. He ain't racist. He hates all of us evenly.
Yeah, but we're a different race.
We're a different species.
Race.
We're a different creature. We're a different creature than them.
That's what race means.
No, it doesn't. So I'm a different creature than you?
No. There's only one race, the human race. There's only one race, the human race, but they ain't part of the human race. So he is a racist.
Exactly right. I see your theory, but I'm not. I don't. It
ain't a theory. It's a fact.
It's not a fact.
It's a fact. You know.
It's a speech. Kinda, but it don't. I bet they say, look at them damn human beings coming down here.
Yeah.
That's what I'll tell you about
They're
their
stinking up the
comment.
place. They're not like us. They're nasty.
Stinking
They're
up the
dirty.
place.
The
They're not
shampoo
like us.
stinks.
Yeah, they don't bathe. Or they do bathe, they would
They
say.
stink. They stink. They bathe too
You
much.
smell that shit they
got
put
all
on
that
them when they bathe?
shampoo, them chemicals.
And perfume. I smelled pheromones on one day. The hell you say? I would love to be a fly on the wall. At them around the dinner table and what they're saying about us. Yeah, I
Oh,
see
you know it ain't
damn
no
hunter
good.
coming in the wood. He almost took a shot at me thinking I was a deer, the son of a bitch.
Didn't know
Well, did
I
you get
walked
him
around him
now?
4 times. And didn't know I walked around him 4 times and farted on him twice.
No kidding. They wouldn't either. It always intrigues me when I hear a hunter say that, oh, well, if Bigfoot was in the woods, I would have seen it because I'm the great white hunter and blah, 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 blah. Were you hunting for some 8-foot tall monster that blends in like a tree? When you're looking at it, you think you're looking at a tree. No, you're looking for game. You're looking for deer, hog. You probably leaned up against one to tie your shoe. That's the scary thing about them, bro. They have
No
a governance
kidding.
over their emotions that I don't even think we do.
They can lock it down.
Yeah.
And you think they're a rock or a tree.
They'll let you get right up on them and not move a single inch.
And you don't even know they're there.
No. I was filming backwards. This is when I learned the art of filming behind me. And I heard something move. So I made a big long U-turn, but I still was filming behind me. This thing anticipated me turning around and moved to the spot that was more reasonable if I had turned around. So it was almost like it read my body language. It was weird. And all you see is like a flash of fur. It went from this bush, backed up, and went around a tree into this like row of bushes. And it was like, just like that. And I wasn't looking at the camera, so I didn't see it, but I walked right past that thing and I was looking directly in that area, shooting in that area. Didn't see nothing.
Yep.
So you have to have like a governance over your emotions and a confidence in your ability to move around without being hurt.
Because one of the first things they teach, like in the military, to the guys that they teach to take out sentries and things, you cannot look at the target. You stay low to the ground. You move in inches, not feet. And you do it slowly. But you have to think happy thoughts. If you're thinking about killing them, if you're envisioning killing them, they will sense you and turn around and look straight at you. It's a fact.
Heard that. That's crazy too. Just like, man, and we're rough around the edges in our youth, so I bet you ran into it too. When you let's call him an adversary, human adversary. When you say I went to the county fair one time, there's this dude. Me and him was gonna lock horns. It was gonna happen. It was just a matter of time. And I was there with my girlfriend at the time. This is high school, I believe. And bro, I felt that great disturbance in the force.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the wind stopped, and my senses became more acute. And I'm looking around. I didn't see anything at first, but when I stopped paying attention to it, it hit me again. It was more prevalent. And I turned directly behind me, and the son of a gun sitting there facing me, staring at me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wide chest in the stance. It was like he's wanting to fight. And I remember thinking at the time, I'm gonna go stomp this guy's guts out. But later on that night, I was like, how did I feel that? Because it was tangible.
When I was in my early 20s, me and my first wife were at the flea market, right? And I mean, it was a really crowded day at the flea market. There was hundreds of people there. And I was looking at some stuff on this table, and my ex-wife was standing there beside me. And I felt funny, and I turned and I looked, and there was a guy probably 75 yards. There was at least 75 or 100 people between us walking around. And I locked eyes with that dude, and he locked eyes with me. He was already staring at me. He sensed it before I did. And when he was looking at me, I sensed it. And I turned around and I looked at him. He looked at me, and we just started walking towards each other. And as we did, when we got close enough to each other, we both did this right here and backed away from each other. And my wife was like, what the hell's going on? I said, that's my enemy. That's what's going on.
You just know.
He said, "Do you even know him?" I said, "I know he's my enemy."
Yeah, you can feel.
And
his
he knew
spirit.
it too.
He has the antithesis of your spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was like,
we both believe
what was
in
it?
the-
Steve's name. What's his name? Used to say what his sister told him. They can be only one. You know, I mean,
There could be
shit, I
only one,
sensed
yeah.
it. Yeah, and he did too. That was the crazy part about it.
I'm trying to think, man. I know that I've had situations like that, but I can't think of any on top of my head. Here in Alaska, what's up, Chris Beard in Alaska? You've been commenting pretty regular on this show, and I appreciate that, man. I like to
That
see
was a
y'all
funny
engaged and
comment
having
he made
fun.
about his sister, though. That
Yeah.
like to kill me.
Bro, I mean, we're getting some cool people coming through, bro.
I know it.
So
There's a lot of cool people in the world.
there's a bunch of cool people in the world. And nobody, and you know, we joke around and whatnot, but man, the majority, and some of these dickheads that come in here with that racist stuff, they're 90% chance they ain't no damn racist. They see a black man on there, oh, let's take the piss out of him.
And a white man.
You know what I mean?
Both
Yeah.
of us talking craziness.
Talking badness about monsters in the woods and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, our people don't belong to one race. I'll just tell you that right now. I got brothers and sisters in China, brothers and sisters in Afghanistan,
Amen.
and I love them dearly. You're a gray Jedi, are you? If you got gray skin, I think you should probably go seek medical attention immediately.
Immediately, if not sooner.
Yeah, I don't think that's not one of those. You know the Eve gene, like how the black woman, and only the black woman, can have every melanin tone through her cycle of having children.
How about that?
That's some real stuff. Like those twins, beautiful young ladies, identical twins. One's a Caucasian white lady. One, I mean, because they're older now. They're probably in their late 20s. And the other one's a black girl. And one looks like the black version of the other one. One looks like the white version. It's weird in a way. But I mean,
It's almost like Bill Clinton's son, huh?
Yeah, Bill Clinton's exactly. He looks like Bill Clinton's son.
That dude
like
looked just like
a
him.
black. He's a black Bill Clinton. The
Yeah.
bone structure, the genetic,
His
and the
smile
physical
and
traits.
his teeth, even
Yes.
were the same.
The eyes, the way his eyes look when he smiles, like traits that can only be passed
Yep.
from father to son. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. My dad's picture when he joined the army. He was slick. He was wearing a suit, and then I was wearing a suit that looked similar, not on purpose, but we're standing the same way. In my brother's graduation picture, it was about a year ago. I looked at them all, and I was like, shit, fire. Like, we look so much, it looks like the same person throughout time, like Dorian Gray or something.
Yeah. That's like yeah. That's like that picture of what's his name? Keanu Reeves from like centuries ago,
Man.
dressed in them weird clothes. And you know it's an old painting too.
Yeah,
for
it's an
real.
old painting. It's not him, but dadgum, bro. There was one picture.
It sure
there was
looked
a
like
picture
it.
of some Civil War Union soldier. Spitting image of Nicolas Cage. Spitting image.
I've seen that. Yes.
It's some of that stuff is
Generational
spooky,
twins is
bro.
what I think it is. Well, I mean, think
Generational
about it.
twins. It would have to.
There's
be.
only so many combinations that there can be for DNA. There's a finite number of combinations. And they say that every person on the earth has at least one, if not two, exact
I heard it was 7.
duplicates.
Yeah, like 7
Yeah,
exact.
it probably is now. There was less people on the earth back when I heard it.
Because think about it, I mean,
Probably is.
there's billions of people on there. So somebody
Yeah.
would have to come remarkably close to your
Yeah.
physical.
They say
what-
there's at least 3 of you that are exact genetic matches on the earth
What?
at the same time you are. Yes, exact genetic matches.
Genetic matches. That's
Yes.
cuckoo cuckoo. I don't
Yeah,
want to meet them,
everything about them. They look exactly like you. Their DNA tests out the same as yours. Exactly the same. They could kill somebody and you go to prison if they get that DNA sample.
though. That's crazy.
They can't
That's
tell
crazy
any
to
difference.
think about. How's that
Yes,
possible?
it
I
is,
mean,
though.
there has to be a common
Because
answer.
there's only so many combinations. That's how it's possible.
I'd understand that for the physiology of a person, how they're built and how they look, but genetically,
Yes.
That's a whole nother.
I'm not making
Bro,
it up. Look it up.
I believe you. I believe you. I am going to look it up. So I'm going to throw it at the end of that CERN thing because
You know
man,
where I heard about that? It was
where?
in criminal justice class where we're discussing genetic evidence.
See, that's why that DNA evidence stuff. That's not all it's cracked
Yes.
up to be.
It ain't. It's no
they
matter
found
what. It's
O.J.
like
Simpson's.
1 in a billion. The strongest DNA match they can get on you is that there's 1 in a billion just like you. Got the same.
Well, I mean, there's, and they found this evidence after the fact, or they suppressed it until after the fact. But more than likely, O.J. Simpson wasn't present during the murder of Nicole.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. You know what I saw today?
That he passed on?
Well, besides that,
What?
there was a woman that was a member of the jury. And do you know what she had to say about it?
What?
She said, there's no doubt about it. He killed that woman. And we all knew it. They proved it. We all agreed. He killed that woman.
What?
They turned loose them white cops that beat the hell out of Rodney King while that court case was going on. And they said, they let them white guys go. They tried to murder him. We're going to see how they like it.
What?
We couldn't let it stand. That's her words, not mine. That's what she said.
No, hold on. Wait, whoa. Slow down. What?
Yes. That was a woman that was on the jury. She said there was no doubt. We all knew. They gave us plenty of that. He killed that woman. We had no intentions of.
Rodney King.
We had no intentions. I know that. You know that. It's crazy madness.
Nicole,
but at the time,
and Ron Goldman?
yes,
They were butchered, bro. They were butchered.
I know that, and you know that.
That's craziness.
She
came out
said,
and just said that.
yes. She didn't make no bones about it. She said we let him go because they let them racist cops go, and he was a black man, and we were not going to send him to jail when they let them walk.
That's crazy, bro.
I know.
Damn, I've never heard
But
that.
it was a for people that wasn't there, you have to understand the
political climate and all that kind of stuff.
man, it was more than that. I mean, it was a gut punch to a lot of people when they let them dudes go. They were going to burn Los Angeles down. Things
that was the first
radical.
Damn near.
Yeah,
that was the first ever piece of
it could have been worse, but
really,
it was bad.
Yeah. There was no camera phones back then. That was the first.
No.
You see it all the time now.
And it was just too incendiary. It was too incendiary. But the problem they had was they were, yes, they were. But that dude ran from him and then resisted arrest.
Ran from him. Yeah, but God.
And everybody knew back then, D, you got to understand.
It was the LA cops.
Back then,
it was the LA cops.
It wasn't the LA cops, D. That had nothing to do with it. I'm going to explain it to you. Everybody knew you don't run from the police unless you're willing to take ass whipping. Because if they catch you, you're going to get an ass whipping.
I'll let you in
it's
on
common knowledge.
I'll let you know a little secret that some people know. There's something called police certification that we have here that the police have to go through. I independently went through that to get a private investigation license. And this was in the early 2000s. Not much has changed. You run from the cops, there's a consensus view. They're going to whoop your ass. I mean, I don't know where you people live, but where we live, I live in a big city, sort of a big city. Mid-level.
Fair to Midland.
It's small. Yeah, fair to Midland. It's small enough to where they can get away with that stuff.
I'm gonna tell you right now, they're not getting away with nothing. That is department policy. When you resist arrest, they can whoop your ass. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Welcome to I'll comment on that here in a second. Welcome to the BDRP Supernatural. She says, I heard that on the news last night. That's crazy. Yeah. He said she said you're mixing up two cases. Hold on. No, on CNN, lady said black people backed OJ because they was white people. Well, that don't make no sense. I think it was just the high profile nature of it. This wasn't just some black dude. This was O.J. Simpson. You got to think of the time that it was in too. O.J. Simpson was a household
Yeah.
name.
I
He
think
was
the
synonymous with-
phrase that was used was he was rich and he was black, and we wanted them to know that he could get away with the same stuff the white people was getting away with, rich white people. Let's paraphrase.
Well,
That was what was said.
Where I come from, just like the Michael Jackson song says, it don't matter if you're black or white. If you commit a crime, you can get your ass whooped. If you commit a crime and run.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a case down here. I don't want to get into it because I still live here. But the one I was telling you about, there was a young lady and a young man went missing. I'll put it to you this way, folks, not to get too far into it, but when you live in a bigger city out that's surrounded by small towns, there's just some things growing up here that you do and that you don't do.
It's that way everywhere.
And, yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I lived in Philadelphia. I've lived in a handful of places. Yeah, you're right. It's been like that in every place I've been. No matter who you're talking to, no matter whether it's a cop or the ones on the opposite end of them. But see, like, what's a white? This guy says I'm white with a black name. My name's Darius. Darius is a Greek name, or I mean, not Greek. Yeah, it is Greek, right?
It's a Persian name.
Persian.
Darius. Yep.
That's an awesome name. Now, granted, there's a lot of black folks that are called Darius. There's a lot of black folks called Marcus. But Marcus Aurelius, he was, I mean, as far as
I'm
we
of
know,
similar extraction. I'm German, Irish, German, Scots, Irish, and Cherokee and Creek Indian.
Do they have sundown towns in Oklahoma? Hell no, they ain't got no damn sundown town. We have the opposite of that. See, that's why I love my state. This, I do believe that, J-Dad. That's what they want it to be. But gladly, we have the sheriff's departments, and we have constitutionalists within those sheriff's departments. And God bless all sheriff's departments.
I was going to try to do it and thought I could change it from the inside. I even took criminal justice in college. I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Yeah, that's the only constitutionally recognized branch of law enforcement there is. And God bless them, And I'm not saying anything bad about the police, but my God, like, they should be a little bit more prudent in their hiring practices.
I'll tell you something, and I know you know this because me and you've discussed it, but I don't know about all the people in the chat and everything, the viewers. It's like this right here. Cops are 10 times more likely to murder you if you're a poor white person than they are if you're a black person. They're 10 times more likely to beat the crap out of you too.
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you, you know this again, because we discussed this at length. The most impoverished person in the United States of America is a poor, rural, white, single mother.
Yep.
That's the most impoverished person in this country. The amount of black folks that are killed by white cops is around the same as black cops. The amount of white cops who kill black folks is around the same as the amount of black cops that kill white folks. It's a little bit, because you got to look at the population too. These things you can mathematically figure them out. The news is showing you what they want you to get mad at. They're trying to divide us. Do you understand what I'm saying? This man's my brother right here. I love him like the good book. He's white as the driven snow. I mean, okay,
we're still brothers.
It was absolutely. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you, J Dad. He said it was the sheriffs that beat him. Man, like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but I don't change my support of the sheriff's department. Like, there's bad seeds in all of it. Listen, law without order is a greater danger to the people than order without law. That was Benjamin Franklin, I believe. And that is a fact. Like, I think we can govern ourselves far better than, I don't want to go down that road. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
They see us all as criminals. You're absolutely right. To put it in a better perspective than that, they see us all as the enemy. That's why when you remember growing up, you had cops that lived next door. You'd see them drive their way to work. Now they're bringing them from out of town. If you live in that town, they don't want you working in that town. Before it was the exact opposite, because if you were policing a town that you live in, that your kids go to school in, you're not going to be laying harm to your neighbor. You're not going
Or
to, just
being
because
crooked out in the open.
yeah, just because you don't like the way he trims his yard or the color of his skin, you ain't just going to take a stick to him, because you're going to see that cat at Walmart, him and his cousins and his brothers.
Yep.
And that right there was the fail safe. And people are inherently, and this is just me, people aren't inherently bad per se, but all of us have the proclivity for bad. And all it takes is one bad day. You know what I'm saying? One bad day.
I wonder how many people in the audience know this. Did you know that there's a federal law against police officers wearing black uniforms?
Yeah, and
They're not supposed to be wearing black uniforms.
There used to be one for them having all blacked out vehicles. If you look in Europe, Canada, England, we got some people in here from, I think, different countries, they said earlier. You won't see police cars that are black on black. Why? Because the police are public servants. They stand out. They're supposed to be able to stand out. So if you need help, you can see them amidst a vast sea of cars. That's why you look at the English bobbies. They got like like the yellow they put on signs that are reflected. It looks kind of gaudy, but I mean, who cares?
Well, because of the Nazis and the SS officers wearing black, there was laws passed in this country that made it illegal, because of what went on in fascist countries, that the law officers could not wear black uniforms.
Yep.
Just like you're not supposed to be able to hold a security clearance if you're an admitted communist. That's the law.
You know what? You know how many people would have to leave their office and pack up their desk? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we enforce that law, we need another Joseph McCarthy. Folks, I'm willing to be that Joseph McCarthy. Let's start back McCarthyism. You know what I'm saying?
The funniest thing to me is that man was proved right. Every one of them names was in the Venona cables.
A lot of them.
It came out within 30 years that every one of them was a Soviet spy. Every name he'd called, he was fed those names from the military. They were watching them. They knew who they were.
Brother Heck says they have black on black detective cars here in New York City. New York City, bro, you got to get out of that joint.
No.
Get out of there. You couldn't pay me to live in New York City. I'm an old country boy, but I stayed in a township right outside of Philadelphia called Norristown. I worked in a place called King of Prussia. And me being a hayseed from southern Oklahoma, I thought that was the big pond. I was there for 4 years, and I had it in mind because it's only a 2.5 hour train ride, I believe, from Philly to New York. So I was gonna, I want to see New York. I'm 19, 20, 21 years old. And I remember I talked to one of the guys I worked with. He was as serious as he could be. He's like, don't go to New York. It's not worth it. And he's, a Philly native.
If somebody was to deed me the entire Trump Tower and the whole city block, and I actually had to live there to keep it, I wouldn't take it.
No, I'll turn it down all day long.
If you was to deed me a city block in New York with the Trump Tower on it, and a block right at the foot of the gates of hell, I would rent out the place in New York and stay at the place right outside the gates of hell.
I couldn't stay up there, because I'm not going to be stopped just because they're going to stop you and by law break your constitutional rights to be able to travel unmolested because they got some ideas in their head. No.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. If a cop was to put on a black uniform and a ski mask and try that mess here in the 40s or 50s, everybody in the community would have shot him down. They'd come out and shot him down. And that's what's wrong with this country.
I'll tell y'all something a lot of y'all won't believe. I'm a Southerner through and through. I've ran into more pure, unfiltered, unadulterated racism in Philadelphia, just Philadelphia, than I ever have in any Southern city. Ever. Well, that's a lie. Outside of Midland and Odessa, Texas. Midland and Odessa, Texas is something else. I forgot about that. Yeah. Philly took the second place spot after I went out to that joint. We got D-Truth in the house. Hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
He says the King of Prussia Mall. I worked at the Wawa. We've spoken on the phone before plenty of times. He's a brother in the faith. I worked across the street from the King of Prussia Mall. I worked in the King of Prussia Mall at, believe it or not, Hot Topic, if any of you guys remember that store. And this is an old country boy with a lip full of Copenhagen chewing tobacco, flannel shirt, OU ball cap, and a cop mustache. And this dude would come through my lawn every day. And he seemed pretty cool. We would talk about music and whatnot. And I guess he was impressed that I knew like all the Metallica albums or something and all the Beatles. And I told him, man, the Beatles suck. And he bust out laughing. He's like, what do you say that? I was like, because, and you know, who was recording around the same time at Abbey Road? You got Floyd, Zeppelin. You know what I mean? So, and then you got I Want to Hold Your Hand. Miss me with that shit. Now, you know, that's my attitude. I was kind of a metalhead back then too, so.
I'm still with you.
There's
only a couple Beatles songs that I even care to hear.
The ones that are good.
And I'm not going to go out of my way for that. To be honest with you, The Long and Winding Road is probably the only ones that I really actually like.
I don't know, man.
And I'm not rabid about that one.
I can't even remember the song, the name of the song that I'm thinking of. Father Mackenzie. Da, 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 da,
yeah, I know the one you're talking about there.
Look at all the lonely people. Bum, 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 bum. The music that was good was fantastic. But I mean, there's a lot of good Beatles songs. I'm not going to hate. George Harrison's rendition of Why Don't We Do It in the Road? That was straight up Black Delta blues, as close as an Englishman can get to it.
Now, Paul McCartney and Wings, I actually kind of liked when I was a little kid.
I like Live and Let Die.
Band on the Run.
Nah, it's okay.
Well, I was a little kid when it came out. I wasn't even in
kindergarten.
kindergarten, so the tune was catchy, and I thought
The tune is catchy. I ain't gonna hate on it. It is catchy, and they played that at Wawa all the time, bro.
According to my cousin, my dad had one of the first custom vans in Alabama, and I thought they were saying "van on the run" and was singing those words with it.
Yeah,
that's what he says.
They might as well.
I believe him. He was older than me.
They might as well have been saying it for as many times as I listened to that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lady Madonna, is that the name of that song?
Yeah, that's it.
No, that don't sound right.
Lady Madonna, something at your
No, that's
feet,
another cool
blah.
song.
To make ends meet, yeah.
Who's got the money? Dun, dun, dun. That and Rocky Raccoon. You can't not like Rocky Raccoon. He fell back in his room looking for Gideon's Bible.
You know, it's the awful thing to me is you hear that song John Lennon did, Imagine, and it sounds like a beautiful song until you actually listen to the words.
He's a scumbag, bro.
What I say?
John Lennon's he's a scumbag.
It sounds like a beautiful song until you actually listen to the words.
And I had one of these like yuppie friends that's gonna like everything that was. He was just a yuppie. He he was in love with John Lennon. So I was listening to these albums. He has a song called "Woman is the N-word," actually not N-word, but of the earth. And he was singing it, and he's got one of these melodic like voices that kind of grabs you if you're not paying attention. That dude is something else. He's something else.
He's the devil.
Or was something else. I wouldn't necessarily call him. Well, he's the Beatle that said that they were bigger than Jesus.
Yep. Well, it said they were more famous than Jesus.
They were more famous. I'm sorry, you're right. But then he went, because they told him, hey, you better take your limey ass out there and apologize. And instead of doing that, he doubled down in a slick kind of way. So he was devilish.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, he was like, what's his name? Bob Dylan. He made a deal with the master and commander.
Did he really?
Says. Yeah. Matter of fact, I sent you a video earlier, and apparently it didn't go because I knew you would get it when I said that if you'd seen the video, so I just resent you the link.
I watched part of it. I'm gonna remake that video. You know that. That's kind of what I want to start doing. You know what
it's got a bunch of them in there that just flat out admit it.
Folks, he sent me a video earlier. Yeah, that's the you just said it. The one that gets me the most was Dylan when he was talking to what was that?
Yeah, the dude from 60 Minutes,
Ed Bradley.
Yeah, Ed Bradley.
Ed
Yeah.
Bradley. Ed Bradley.
You're right.
Yeah.
It was Ed Bradley.
And Ed Bradley, he's just like, some kindly old man. He thought it was just some big joke. And Bob Dylan was serious as a heart attack. He was
He
like,
didn't think that was no joke.
He was like, can I ask you to make the deal with? And he was like,
Yeah.
the master and commander, the big chief. In this world, and Bob Dylan said, in this world and the world you can't see. Yep. I get a chill every time I watch that, bro. He was serious as taxi.
And he said, and I'm keeping up my end of the deal, he said.
Yeah, and he said it with this tired old voice. I'm keeping up my end of it, my part of it. That dude, he has one foot in the grave and another one on a banana peel. He's still alive.
Yep.
And he's put A through the Z through his body. Him and Johnny Cash were doing Speed. They tried. I think they made it into an album. Have you seen it? You know what I'm talking about? It was them in the studio, and they played like a handful of old church songs, and they were trying to sing each other's songs, and Bob Dylan had to basically mutter in the background because Johnny Cash was on speed, and he was like on mushrooms or some crazy stuff like that. But it's hilarious. If you want to see it, look up Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan. Folks, you won't be disappointed if you're a music fan. Johnny Cash.
Bob Dylan started out as a bluegrass musician, right?
Yes, sir. Bluegrass and what we call folk these days. I think before it even really had that name on it. Yeah. There's a band called Modest Mouse. I don't know why it just popped to mind, but I think that's the modern equivalent too. I haven't heard an album from them in a long time. We're both musicians, so we can go off on music for like the next 3 hours. Did you like the intro, the music I chose?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, who was
Have
that?
you ever listened to their you need to do your version of Your Last Cup of Sorrow by Faith No More?
Mike Patton is a savage, bro. I'll put Mike Patton up there with.
Have you heard that song?
With Trent Reznor. Yes.
I love that song.
He's got a band called Tomahawk that I want you to listen to.
Yeah.
Bro, it's a trip.
I think I've heard of them, but I don't think I've heard any of their music.
You'd like him. He's got a band called Tomahawk and another one that's kind of like one of those artsy fartsy type. It's not my particular brand of vodka. It's okay, but Tomahawk, he really showcases like the dude's what would you call it? Like Trent Reznor. I mean, he can play every instrument.
He's just a savant.
A savant. There you go.
Like Prince. Yes. Prince was a true polymath. That dude could play, I think they said 27 instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And not just play them.
Not just playing.
Mastered them. He had mastered them.
He's a master musician. A lot of people don't understand that about him.
Yeah.
He was he's one of the most underrated guitarists there is too.
Oh yeah. Steve Lukather, the dude I was telling you about, he actually played on Purple Rain because Prince wasn't so famous when that album come out that he could say, look, I'm doing it my way. So they sent that studio guitarist there. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody with some juice. Say, we're not going to trust this.
But then after that, he did it his way.
Look here, how about Herbie Hancock?
As big a hit as that was. Yeah, Herbie Hancock's awesome.
Man, what was it? The Yardbirds, I believe. Isn't that the one that had that other Brit? What's his name? No, Cream.
Yeah, Cream. You're talking about Cream with Clapton and Beck.
Yes, bro. Yep. I was a huge Cream fan back in the day. I mean, Queens of the Stone Age.
In a white room with black curtains at the station.
Yep. Oh, there's so much better than that, though. That's their radio song.
Oh, I know.
Eric Clapton's another super savage, bro.
Jeff Beck is. Jeff Beck is one of the best guitarists that ever lived.
Of all time. Zach Wilde, I put him up there. Man, John Lennon
when he was young, but Zach Wilde just started getting lazy.
Did he fall off? Oh, that's sad to hear.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I know it's probably not going to be popular with a lot of people. He got sober.
Yeah. That's the way of it, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes.
Jimmy Page, thank you. And which one are you talking to? Which one of us look wonderful tonight? Zara? And Jimmy Page was another one I was going to bring up, bro. If he wasn't so demonically energized.
That You Look Wonderful Tonight's a Clapton song. One of his best, in fact.
Oh, no, I feel like a genuine a-hole. No, that's not one of his best songs. I know what song you're talking about. Here, I'll show you his best song.
I didn't say it was his best song. I said one.
It's one of them. It's up there. But man, listen.
Just for musical compositions, what I'm talking about. It ain't my favorite song.
What's Jimmy Page? Or what's Page's best song?
Man,
you know what I'm saying? He's just a monster.
That's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah, he's a monster. Like that's how I look at Clapton.
I tell you, one of my favorite guitar parts that he plays, and it's not even the most technical, is from Kashmir.
The live Kashmir,
it's just sonically,
from Kashmir?
Yes. Yes.
Bro, that does something to you. You could tell he had the spirit on him or something, because you could feel it. Something's going on with that one. That was the live at Kashmir. John Paul Jones, their bass player, another super savage.
What do I think of Marty Friedman of Cacophony? I think he was one of the best guitarists Megadeth ever had. Holy War's Punishment Due. Oh my goodness!
If it was just
a long time to learn to play.
I'll tell you what, man. I play drums primarily, so I'm a big fan of bass players, and a band that's led by the bass, Primus, their guitarist Larry Lalonde, another super savage, and he's like, he doesn't get anywhere near the credit he deserves. That guitar solo in Winona's Big Brown Beaver, come on,
Brown Beaver,
like that slide guitar he's playing.
The bass line in that is madness,
dude. Like that man's fingers have to be like that long.
Oh, what are you talking about? Yeah,
because I mean,
that guitar solo was awesome, but you got to realize it had to be an awesome over-the-top guitar solo to even register with that bass line.
To play with Les Claypool, are you kidding me? You got to be a monster. And their original, and they changed their sound when they got that second drummer, Brian something. They call him Brain, and he's more of a poppy type jazz musician. And the original one, Tim Alexander's one of my favorite drummers. He's up there with like Danny Carey from Tool, Bonzo, like to a whole lot lesser extent.
I'm gonna tell you somebody that don't get near the credit he should is Bonzo's son, Jason Bonham.
Yes, Jason Bonham.
That dude's awesome.
He is awesome, bro. In ways, he's better than his dad. In ways, you know what I'm saying? Because he had that technical prowess.
Yes, I do
too. He didn't just beat the shit out of him. He had that technical know-how. Geddy Lee.
He had that kid doing drum solos on stage before he was 8 years old, and he was playing his parts in the Zeppelin songs, and he was nailing them.
What song was it? They played it at speaking of Aleister Crowley, the gentleman brought up earlier. They played this at Crowley's house where he did that, where he manifested that portal, on Lake. On Loch Ness or whatever.
Yeah.
The Immigrant Song. They said when they recorded that song in that house, they put him all the way down at the end of this long hallway and just opened the doors. I mean, that's how heavy-handed he is on those drums, bro. And you get to see it on that Kashmir video too. I wonder how many heads he went through on that thing before they got done recording.
No telling. But you know the crazy thing about him, from what I hear, is he didn't wear out a lot of heads. He looks like he's hitting harder than he is. He pulls it up.
Looks like he's beating them apart.
And I know it. But from what I hear, he had a lot lighter touch than people think he did.
No kidding.
He knew how to put the snap on it and make it get the most sound and sound like he was really popping it when he really kind of wasn't.
Bro, and this is
that's what people say.
He was the first metal drummer, really, to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of those songs are straight metal.
What was the boy's name?
All I needed some dub and there's some double bass.
The dude that played the original bass player for Sabbath.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Tony Iommi's the only name that comes to mind.
No,
he ain't the bass player.
I used to know
Iommi's another
name. Well, like Geezer Butler's the bass player, but I'm trying to remember the bass player, the drummer
Butler
from Sabbath.
Oh, you got me there, bro. They went through a couple of drummers though.
Yeah, I'm talking about the original. That dude was a monster.
Yeah, he really was. The Wizard. There's a lot, bro. And see, that's what's cool. God gives us that creative spirit. And there's so much like awesome music out there. There's some good new bands. Not a lot. Queens of the Stone
Well, the
Age
thing is,
one of
you
my
don't hear
favorite
them on
bands.
the radio like we used to. If you really get out and look on YouTube and places like that, the people that's putting out their own music, there are some really good musicians out
Yeah,
there.
there's some good musicians just on YouTube in their bedrooms, just strumming something out. The Arctic Monkeys. They're a good band that has some poppy sounding radio songs, but their musicianship is up there with anybody. But I listen to everything back in the day, bro. The Mars Volta, Demi Borgir, all kinds of stuff. Reggae, I had a little reggae.
The Guano Apes.
Yeah. Did you ever get into that British punk stuff? Like the Ramones,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Pistols?
I love the Sex Pistols.
Yeah. I like the Stooges.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The Kennedys, the Bad Brains, Dead Kennedys.
Old live Metallica sounds like punk.
Oh,
there's not a lot of
punk,
videos.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
played so fast.
Yeah.
Small Town Titans. Check them out. You're not the only person. I have a buddy that works at OU. That's all the time talking about Small Town Titans. And me and him have the exact same musical taste. So I don't know why I haven't checked them out, honestly. But bro, it's I feel it in the wind. I got to get a kit. I got to get a drum set. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel either that or get my violin fixed. You know. I really want to start playing the banjo again, honestly.
Bill Ward.
Bill Ward. He was a badass, bro.
Yep. He was the original drummer. I knew. I just had to have it. Yep. Geezer Butler was the bass player.
You see how I stopped talking about it. I couldn't trigger that OCD in me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that to myself.
Yeah.
Ronnie James Dio, what did you think when he took over? You like that new sound that he brought with
You know what? I like Dio.
Yeah?
I really did. You know what? My outlook on it was like this. Ozzy, he came out, did his thing. He was still doing just as good. Now we got two bands where there was one.
Really? And I mean, like Ozzy shifted into a different sound, kind of. But there were some songs that bring your mind back to Sabbath.
Oh, yeah. But he did take it past that. He started getting those
did.
young guitarists that was, coming out of MIT and stuff like that, or GIT, the Berklee School of Music, these prodigies, and they were ripping it. They were ripping it.
I was watching some videos last night, and Radiohead came to mind. A buddy of mine came by.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to show him that, because he didn't know that Radiohead originally did the intro to Spectre. And he was like, what are you talking about? It was that Sam Smith jabroni. I was like, yeah, that's what they end up going with. They wrote 2 songs for the intro to that Spectre movie that are phenomenal. They put you in more of in the mindset of a James Bond film. But they were too non-mainstream. Radiohead's the greatest band on earth right now, in my opinion.
The dude
Their
that
musicianship's second to none.
replaced Ronnie James Dio was even better. I think it's Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple.
No kidding? I
No
guess I
kidding.
didn't listen to a whole lot of Dio, bro. Like, just like Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses, man. It wasn't my particular brand of vodka. I didn't like his voice. Now,
I did.
when they became Velvet Revolver, that's more of my, that's more
Well,
of my
that was
wheelhouse.
without Axl Rose, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He was all the time just being hateful and stuff. Rob Zombie and the White Zombies. Bro, I'd say that was an evolution.
I
White
never
Zombie
cared.
was awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
But I wasn't a huge fan of that either. I couldn't be bringing a White Zombie into my house. Are you kidding me? My mama beat my brains out and had me put in an insane asylum if she found one of those.
I'm going to tell you, I loved Rob Zombie and White Zombie back then.
I did too. I just knew better than to bring a CD on. Bro, one of my idiot friends, and I hated Marilyn Manson all the way back then. My idiot friends, I was probably like 14. And, we had a place here called Hastings. We go in and, that's really when I started fostering my own musical taste and stuff. Well, this was a cassette tape of Marilyn Manson's first album, I think. and it has all this satanic imagery and stuff. And I get home from school, and my mom and my second to oldest sister sitting there looking all mad and stuff. I'm like, what happened?
Ooh, busted.
And she was like, sit down. And my mom's going like lightning, like, what the hell did I do? And, you know, it was smooth sailing. I sat down, I was like, yes, ma'am. And she said, what's this? And she slides it over to me. I'm like, that son of a bitch. I threw him so far under the bus, he could probably taste the axle grease, bro. I was like, that's Jason.
You should have.
I don't like that bit. And it was just a week before that he came to Oklahoma City dressed up like a priest, ripping pages out of the Bible and throwing them to the crowd. And I remember she called me in the living room to watch it. She said, watch this junk and this nonsense. Because she's always real good about making me see things that she thought were of historical significance. She's like, you don't listen to him, do you? I'm like, no, ma'am. Look at him. He's ripping pages out of the Bible. I hate his guts. And Jason brought over that statement. I was like, man, take that crap out. I don't want to hear that junk.
Yeah. I never.
It just never appealed to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I told you, I stayed in the town when I was working down there in Miami in '92 after Andrew.
Yeah, in Hollywood, Florida.
He was from. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole town's gay.
It tells you a lot about him. Yeah, it tells you a lot about him.
But, you know, the dude dressed normal back then. He was just in a cover band.
He was a
I come home.
I will say that. She says that he was a pioneer of culture shock. It's a genius marketing tactic, but I mean, it doesn't have wings. Because
I'll just be honest with you. That's what happened with Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne's actually a Christian. That dude is not just marketing. He's a hardcore Satanist, and it ain't marketing.
He got in some trouble. He got, well, yeah. I think what you're saying is he was pushing himself. He was being a sensationalist. But if you go and listen to 9 Inch Nails' second album, they had it was their second or third. Anyways, there was a music video for a song called "Gave Up." It had the guitarist and lead singer from Filter playing guitar. Ziggy, I forget his last name, but he played for Perfect Circle, played for a bunch of people. He played for Manson and Marilyn Manson when he was like 18 years old or 19 years old. And he was doing good then by being a backup singer for Trent Reznor. And, you know, that was only for music videos and on the road because Trent did all his own stuff. But damn Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. And I can answer your question. What a Satanist is a person that worships Satan, the father of lies.
Who asked that?
The same person.
Quit bullshitting, girl. You know what a Satanist is.
Yeah.
Lizard people. Ramstein is lizard people. His eyes change. I saw that. He may be lizard people. I ain't gonna lie. I listened a little bit. I listened a bit of Ramstein back. Ramstein.
Du hast.
You hate, bro. I like, and that's when I was taking German. So I used to actually know a little bit about what he was saying. Yeah. You hate me to say, and I did not obey is the only thing I saw.
Yeah.
I can imagine what my dad thought. His daddy fighting in World War II. I'm walking around seeing it in German.
Yeah, my family's got German roots. I still got older uncles that speak a little German.
Yeah, they're probably making fun of their ass right before they put them in a ditch somewhere. I didn't say I didn't like them. Huh? Oh, no, yeah, I mean, let me tell you something, bro. Who was that who were talking? It was another rank devil. There's a lot of rank devils that, I mean, you got to make a decision with, you know, because especially musicians. Like, you don't know how hard it hurt my heart to find out that homeboy from Led Zeppelin was doing rituals in Crowley's house and dating 13-year-old girls. I mean, that's some sad stuff.
Yeah, there's stuff you just can't countenance. Don't mean that their music wasn't great, and some of it even inspired, but I can't back their let's say their politics.
It's hard to listen to them. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, Jimmy Page. Yeah, thank you. It's hard to listen to him. There was a lot of people. I'm glad Trent Reznor turned from his nonsense. Not Trent Reznor. Maynard James Keenan from Tool. Yeah, I mean, but you can tell in his music, he was like, the album 10,000 Days that took forever and a day to come out with, he had a song, it was a double on the album called Wings for Marie. And his wife, or his, I'm sorry, not his wife, his mother was named Judith Marie. And there's a song called Judith on the First A Perfect Circle album that's just as blasphemous as it can get. And I mean, when it came on, I was like, man, that's a homeboy from Tool. And it, it's good poppy beat to it and whatnot. And then he says something super blasphemous, like right in the first 30 seconds. I was like, man, come on. So even though it's good music, there goes my enjoyment for it. I ain't backing that nonsense.
Well, I'm the same way when it's like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stuff that doesn't have anything that's just blatantly blasphemous in it.
Led Zeppelin was on some sneaky shit, though. They were actually putting real magic onto their albums. You can play one of their albums backwards, and it's saying words. And no. Maynard is dead. No, he's not. Are you kidding me? Maynard James Keenan's not dead. What?
That's funny. My mom tried to run over me in front yard over Tool.
What?
Oh, that's funny. That's what J-Dad said. My mom tried to run over me in the front yard over Tool.
Oh, but I guarantee you, my mom had already gone to get to be with the Lord. I didn't like Tool when I first heard it. I was like, man, get to the point. I was listening to System of a Down, Metallica, and they were more methodical and drawn out. I was like, man, 13-minute rock song, nah, I don't hear that shit. Then I listened to Lateralis by myself, like all the way through, and I listened to it probably 2 more times that night. And the hook was in my jaw. Who said, are you lying son of a gun? Wait a minute, he's on tour right now. My homeboy was talking about getting us tickets.
That's what she said. She said, never mind. I'm thinking of Chester from Lincoln Park, LOL.
Oh, well, they killed the shit out of him. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. Him and Chris
Tara?
Cornell both.
And I'll tell y'all this and I'll let y'all go because Zara, I'm sorry. That's a beautiful name. Zara, did you know that they murked that dude? You know that, right? I'm going to tell y'all this because a lot of people, no, you're not dumb. We're just giving you hell. A lot of people don't know this. What was that? Podesta?
Yep.
John Podesta?
John Podesta.
I want to say. John Podesta. Allegedly was Chester Bennington's daddy. But man, you look at father next to son, man, and
they paid for his college. The DNC, when he was the head of the DNC, paid for that boy's college. That was his son.
Yep. And allegedly.
And he outed him.
He was about to. Now, allegedly.
No, there wasn't no about to. He said a family friend named John molested me multiple times.
Yeah, that is what he said. Damn.
No, what he says, he raped me.
Our word.
He didn't say molested. He said raped.
Yeah. He says, but anyways, the R word. Man, that's sad stuff. But Chris Cornell, another one. Chris Cornell was a Christian. A lot of people don't know that. From Soundgarden, one of the greatest bands of all time for any genre of music, in my humble opinion.
Slave.
Audio Slave was the most, bro. They were putting out album after album. Like those 3 albums they had came out year after year. I was like, damn, son. Good music on all of them. Plus, you get the best of both worlds. You got Rage Against the Machine and the singer of Soundgarden. But anyways, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, and a female director, got together. This director was writing, this documentary, and Chris Cornell was going to talk about what he had seen in the early 90s, being, in one of the biggest rock bands of all time. And Chester Bennington was going to talk about his life growing up with all these people. And I found it awful funny that they both died under mysterious circumstances. I'm
working on a movie together, and then the one that was going to produce and write the movie died under mysterious circumstances as well.
And that was the director of a movie called Dust.
Rust.
You remember Rust? I'm sorry, Rust.
Rust.
You remember when homeboy Alec Baldwin, who they seem to always want to humiliate in some way, he must be on the outs with them for real, for real. He went from Hunting for Red October, one of the biggest stars in America, to eating a cheeseburger drunk off the floor, and everybody in America wanted to see seeing it. So and now he's their biggest puppet. Let's be real. I mean, I liked him as an actor, but he's the biggest puppet. Anyways, if you go back and you look at that footage of what took place on that movie set of Rust, he had that gun. He was about to shoot, whatever the film was calling for at that scene, and he turns completely and fires straight at that woman. Now, that's not speculation. That's what that film showed. Is it not, Merle?
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever
And
went
just by coinky dink, she happened
That
to
was the director.
put out a text about a month before that saying that she was fixing to take down a certain politician that was involved with certain things involving children. And information that was given
within that, what?
that was given by two certain people that died under mysterious circumstances that were in the music industry that were admitting they were working on the movie to destroy that certain person. I didn't say any names.
No. Why did she? I said, why did she say anything?
Because she thought she was close enough she could get away with it, I guess. I don't know. Why do people always do stupid things?
That she should have just went on with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that was what,
put it
2
out.
years removed. Yeah.
Put it out. Then let them do something. But no, she had to get her word in.
When you put it out and get all that attention on it, more than likely they're going to leave you be.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to draw.
Well, they
any more
have
attention
to then.
They have to, yeah.
You keep your mouth shut, you put it out, and then go to bragging.
Yeah, exactly. See, I told you these Luciferian sons of guns. But I mean, she lived 2 years, I believe it was 2 years past Bennington and old boy from Soundgarden, Cornell.
Yeah.
So she was free and clear. She didn't have to do all. I mean, it's crazy. Monkey Boy, you have the last laugh. It says quiz for D. I love I Am a Highway, Like a Stone. Like Dietrich said, Like a Stone. Cochise was awesome. That
yes.
What's his face from Rage Against the Machine? Tom Morello.
Yeah, Tom
Another
Morello
super
was awesome.
savage.
Oh yeah,
he's a monster on the
he
pedals.
took that cutoff switch to a new level.
Yeah, he did. He was actually roommates in college. I forget who it was. I shouldn't have even brought it up. Him and another musician, big, awesome musician from, music that we would listen to, were roommates in college. And as soon as I opened my mouth to say it, it just.
Yeah, I know who you're
blew
talking
away.
about too, and it just I lost it too.
You could be a Neil deGrasse Tyson voiceover.
Yeah.
Could I? I'll take it. I mean, the man has a lovely voice. He just talks too much. I hope I don't talk over people as much as he does. No, but I damn sure hope I'm not as full of myself. That dude is so in love and intoxicated with himself, it's unreal. Well, the Big Bang. And guess what, Joe? Guess what? David asked Joe a question and would immediately start answering it himself. I've never seen Joe Rogan frustrated with any guest. And he's had some doozies. But he was like, yeah, dude. I think he even at one point asked him, like, hey, let me finish my point. I'm just going to call it, and this is my opinion, and they can't fault me for that because I'm an American born. Freedom of speech. Neil deGrasse Tyson's a cokehead. He's got to be. I mean, think about it. He's wearing an Indiana Jones hat. He's answering questions that he asked to show off his bravado.
He don't know nothing, he said.
No, he don't know nothing. He's lost in the sauce. He's an actor. He ain't no physicist. There's a Christian physicist, an older black dude. I mean, like my type of blood, like black or darker black like me. Not like, lighter skin like Neil deGrasse Tyson. But he was a Christian theoretical physicist. He has the best way of explaining why God's ingrained in the universe. The universe doesn't deny the existence of God; it shows it. And he said, Neil deGrasse Tyson cut him off and all this stuff, and was talking about, oh well, everything's so perfect and blah blah blah, and everything's in line. And he was like, exactly, it's almost like a computer program, wouldn't you say? Actually, I would say that. And he's like, okay, computer programs have computer programmers, don't they? And then he took him down through there, bro. He started. I mean, I can't say some of the big words he said, but the guy was he made Neil deGrasse Tyson shut up. He tried to cut him off.
They
like
even try to say that it's a 3D hologram. Well, they've all got programmers.
They're saying everything except there's a God there's a God up there somewhere outside of time and space that, because of his own free will, out of his own self, spoke us into existence. The Higgs boson particle under a nuclear microscope vibrates or reverberates like sound. I mean, but yeah, bro. After watching this new 60-minute thing they did on the CERN Large Hadron Collider the other day, I had to make another one, bro. Like to see the actual sciences. I've never seen an actual thing where they're walking them through and showing them stuff like all the way through it. The scientists get so happy and full of themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cooled down to negative 450 degrees. Oh, well, that's the temperature of space, and this dude gets this big sheeted.
Dude, I told you when you're going into those cats' labs, that they don't never get out, and they just glom onto you and start telling you all about it. They're just so excited. Bro. They want you to know.
Yeah, this dude, like, he looked like he was telling his mom about his first day. Yeah. He had the biggest shit-eating grin on his face. And he was like, yeah, and the particles, they go around the 17-mile long tube, and it's 17 miles long, and these giant magnets drag them along the way, and they're 10,000 times hotter than the center of the sun. That lady's like, what? Yeah. So they got it cooled down to negative 400 and something degrees below zero, and the particles are 10,000 times hotter than the sun. That sounds like bad recipe for something. But anyways, folks, we hit you with 3 hours tonight. I sincerely appreciate each and every last one of you guys. I mean, they worship at the altar of science, folks. We know that. Yeah. You know that.
If y'all will, please hit that like button.
Yeah, hit that thumbs up. We had fun tonight. Yep. This was good.
And also, don't forget,
Mr. Merlin.
Glad to be here. Dee's got books on Amazon too.
Amazon and Kindle. DeAndre Doss. It's I'll leave a link down in the description box, actually. And a new book coming up. It's the first volume of the Bureau of Cryptid Affairs. Name's pending. I was going to call it the Cryptid Hunter, but
that's the working title.
That's the working title, yes. Yeah, thank you, Steve. If you'd like to contribute to this channel, it'd be greatly appreciated and will help us get back into field research. I am, by definition, technically, field investigator for unknown and unscientifically verified cryptids, i.e. monsters. So, as D-Truth says, don't fear the Reaper, unless you're a rank devil, and then you'll go where there's weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth, where the worm dies not, and the fire is never quenched. And if you think you're going there, you can reach out to me at Oklahoma Doss. That's OKLAHOMA.
He'll tell you all about his friend Jesus.
Tell you all about him. I have a friend that, I know you'll love him. He's the best. So again, if you'd like to contribute to the channel, the links are in the description box and in the chat with you. This has been fun. They keep getting better and better. This is, this 3 hours just flew by. Yeah, it did. It just flew by. It's good to have you back, bro. Good to have you back.
Good to be back.
And G Reaper, I seen him in the chat. G Reaper did a great job the other night.
Same to you, Steve.
Steve-O. Mr. Wolf.
Yeah.
The real one. I appreciate that.
Even though he's already gone.
Mainline Mitch is part of this. He's part of this thing. This thing of ours. Michael Gordon, another old schooler. It's another brother right there.
Yeah,
what's up, Mike? Where you been?
D-Truth.
And you know what? Thank you. We're about to jump off of here and forget tradition. Each and every last one of y'all are important, so I'll try to do this every show. Zara, you've contributed a lot to the conversation. It's great to see you. Lovely lady. As is Evie AR. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. J-Dad, when hard to paint with 95. That's great. No, I will not do that. I won't fart in your eyes. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Derek Carrot, for subbing. That's awesome. Hope you enjoy what you find. D-Truth made it back with us. Derek Carrot. Party hats. Man, y'all were wide open in there. Wall to wall and treetop tall. Monkey Boy. The Great Romans 116. Helena Hawk. Yeah, and that is true about Podesta. I mean, they can't hide the truth. Monkey Boy's like me. He said, dude, I listen to everything. Nin's one of those exceptions I'll try to make, man, because he's awesome. I appreciate musicians who are, I can't read that last word. It's not your fault. My screen's down on me. Chris Beard. The always intuitive, I already said Light Ray 95. I like him or her that much. And Brother Heck, of course.
Yeah, some good
Man,
questions.
it seemed like there was a whole, oh yeah, we got rid of a lot too. That's what it was.
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah, we did. We didn't have to, but I mean, it's probably for the best.
It behooved us to do so.
Yeah, it behooved us to do so. You're absolutely right, kind sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bigfoot Dogman Research Project, believe it or not, otherwise known as the BDRP Supernatural. And we have greatly enjoyed your company. We hope you would join us tomorrow night, because I think we're going to be shooting and scooting yet again.
Look at there. Look at that. What
There you go.
J-Dad says. What do I always say?
That's exactly right. If you live, and I'm told that all the time, and that is the truth of the matter. If you listen to people, they will tell you who they are and their bad intentions or good intentions, but they'll tell you who they are.
And you better
Can't
listen
wait
to
your
them the
turn to
first
talk.
time and take their word for it.
People who know the truth are on Telegram. I got to get my Telegram back, because there's some political, what I guess you would call pundits or journalists is what I call them, real journalists. There's some journalists on there that go hard in the paint, bro. We should start a Telegram channel where we can really get into some of our
There's always that,
political views. Yeah, I mean, I'm down.
And Rumble.
Rumble. We have a Rumble channel. I just haven't announced it because I haven't. I'm stockpiling.
Good deal.
Yes, sir.
Good deal.
The Facebook links and Twitter or X and some more stuff will be down there beneath my boy. And
We'll have
y'all
to take
again.
We'll have to take a page
you.
out of old Salty Crackers book, do part of the show on here, and when we get ready to let the really real out, just bump on
Yeah,
over.
that's what I
Rumble.
was thinking, because I mean we almost let the really real out here too much.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Yeah, then you would hear all the stuff that we want to say. Not that we're being, well, kinda, in a way, we're being kind of censored. I can't
Allegedly.
say what I want to, even if I'm not serious. Another great Tool song. God bless each and every last one of you guys. Thank you again, sincerely, for coming over and checking us out on tonight's late show. We hope to see you tomorrow night. God bless y'all and see you tomorrow.
God bless all of you.
Now to pick an awesome outro.